Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Law-Splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. Yes, I am late, and yes, it is the chat's fault that I'm late. It's the chat's fault. I take no responsibility for my actions. I blame the chat. The chat has made me late, and it is the chat who shall suffer for this. So, take that. Hope you enjoy it. Hope you like it. I'm going to start, and I'm going to open this Canada Dry. And then in a little bit, I'm going to pour some whiskey. Morty J, yep, there's an issue with last night's stream being uploaded to the media channel. Because YouTube broke the stream in the middle of it, I have to stitch it together. And I have not had time to do that. So I apologize for that. It's still unlisted on the main channel. You can still access it from the link, and that won't actually shift to private until it gets fully uploaded to the other channel. So, again, my apologies, I guess, on that. But YouTube decided to yeet the stream in the middle of it, which actually broke it into two files. So those two files need to be combined. If I do it right now, the screen will flicker, and some people will be mad about that, as they should, because you should be experiencing a flicker-free screen. But I don't want to do that, because I'm calm and I'm happy, and I will not be made mad tonight. So, that being said, how are you? Let's get a couple things out. Let's get them out right now. There is no news in Vic Mignogna's case today. Today is Thursday, 9:30 p.m. exactly are when the opinions release. On Thursdays, there is no opinion in Vic's case. Someone said, wonder why it's taking so long. It's not. It's not taking so long. They still are 3 months short of the deadline. I tried to warn everybody that this stuff takes forever. So we still have potentially up to 3 months before they are even late. And they have license to be extra late if they want because of COVID. So that is that. That's the news on Vic's case. The news is that there is no news. Only Zool. So let's see. What else is going on? I don't have a ton of stories today. I don't have a ton to talk about today. So I'm going to lean into the chat a little bit. I was on with Az earlier today. I'm on Friday Night Tights tomorrow. And I have we'll have a show tomorrow night as well. And so I almost took tonight off, but I said, no, I'm going to go downstairs and I'm going to be happy on a stream. Not going to be mad. So some people have sent me various things to look at. We're going to look at them. If there's something you want to talk about, we can talk about it. We'll see how it goes. As the night warms up. I'm about to pour some of this bourbon. I hope you guys will be around for Friday Night Tights tomorrow. It starts around 2 p.m. Central Time. Should be a decent show. Maybe. Maybe. Let's see. I got to check something real quick. We're going to do some high quality streaming where I actually look at stuff while you guys sit there. Which is the most fun. Okay. There's a couple things that I do want to address. And I've been just having the damnedest time getting the combination of time, energy, and inspiration to do them. They are, one of them was just mentioned by Diamond Duck, which is a red flag stream with Kendra, especially in light of the administration's recent push to have warrantless entry into the home to retrieve firearms. That's fucking great. So that's one thing I want to talk about. I still need to do the Sidney Powell video or cover her lawsuit. I know that's not a big topic for the nighttime live streams. So I know people aren't super into that topic here. So it'll probably be a shorter video than doing it on a live stream, because I really, to be quite honest, I don't want to spend 3 hours reading Sidney Powell's response to Dominion either. I'm not super inclined to do that. I don't think it's got a lot of the comedic material that'll make it, particularly funny or interesting. So, or I shouldn't say it'd be very interesting. I don't think it'd be particularly funny or memeable or anything like that. So for this show, it's not quite appropriate. Just live react to Legal Eagle's video on it. Did he do a video on it? Oh, God. Kyra brings up one. The Times article review. I really do want to do that. I really, really do. Because I think it's so important. And I don't really think it got enough attention at all. And we're seeing bits and pieces of the Time magazine's article and what that process that it described about the election. We're seeing its influence all over the place. It just pops up here and there randomly. And it's amazing that its influence is just subtly everywhere. And it's like nobody even cares outside of like us, right? We care, I think, but nobody walking around is like, oh yeah, so there's a group of people and they organized with all of the news companies, literally all of them, to have a unified message about the election. It was agitprop fucking propaganda, just like they would do in Russia or anywhere else. And like that happened. That happened. That took over an election. Completely took it over. Determine the outcome. Predetermine the outcome. Predetermine the media's narratives on it. And everybody's just fine with it. So yeah, that is something I want to cover. Just finding the time. And all of this, just so you guys know, I found out today, the Chauvin trial starts on Monday. Opening arguments. Guess what? I can't cover it Monday. I'm not going to be able to live cover the opening arguments on Monday because I'm going to be getting on a plane on Monday. So, and I'll be down in Florida for like 9 days. So I'm not sure. I do plan on covering some of the trial, but it's going to be happening while I'm in Florida. And so, you know, if the family is planning on doing something, I'm going to be at the limit of that schedule. So, I will be probably covering the opening arguments during the nighttime stream or something on Monday. So, but I wanted to live stream as much of the trial as possible. I will be, I'll be working on that still. Like I said, while I'm down in Florida, I'll be working on live streaming some of the trial. But we'll see. We'll see. What else? And just in general, like getting ready to take all the kids on a trip is something. It's an endeavor. It's a process. It's a process to take my family away from home because there's so many of us. So that's always good. Let me read the super chats that came in early while I'm thinking about it. We go to Red Guy. Okay, here we go. Funny Valentine 2024 says, I was determined that in fiction, two men should fall in love and remain in it forever and ever, and that fiction allows. In this sense, Maurice and Alex still roam the Greenwood. E.M. Forster. You know what? That book can catch fire and burn in hell where it belongs. Not happy about that one. Funny Valentine 2024 says, also funny how Governor Kemp just passed stricter voting laws in preparation for 2022 Georgia governor's election. Screw Kemp and screw the Georgia GOP. Yes, the Georgia GOP has passed a voter ID on absentee voting. They passed it. The governor signed it today. They now have voter ID on absentee voting in Georgia. So good job on that one, I guess. It's good, yeah. Yeah, it's good. It would have been gooder if they would have passed it, in 2019 or something. How does it work? It's really simple. If you're voting absentee, you have to put your ID number on your voter sleeve rather than a signature. And so then they match up your voter ID to the absentee envelope. And once it's in, it's in. So you can't absentee vote twice because your actual state ID number. So what they did before was a signature verification where some jackass volunteer with no training or expertise or even brain cells, for all we know, would look at two signatures and go, yeah, this one looks like that one. And that was it. I mean, that was all. So rather than have that, they now have a verifiable identification system, which is a good thing. So it is a good thing. It just, it's funny that it's all coming now, but that's how this has to happen. That's how 2020 has to influence future elections, is that they have to change the laws and move them. The knowledge says, Since you dared me to make you mad, type 1 in the chat if you think Nick should have to do a shot of Fireball, Fuyu, or Malort when we hit 1,000 likes. Joke's on you, Knowledge. I don't have Fuyu, Fireball, or Malort because those are garbage. I don't have any of them. So take that. I don't have any bad whiskey right now. That's not entirely true. I have some bad whiskey. I do have this, which I hate. That's not Jameson. That's Jameson cold brew. That's Jameson coffee. That is the most disgusting thing. Arctic Pride says you're garbage. Take some military special. I actually, compared to Fuyu, I enjoyed military special, man. So, you know, that's a challenge on you guys. You have to do it. You have to do that. Not me. That's not on me. That's on you. Someone asked why I covered up the glorious flag of the Imperium. I didn't cover it up. I took it down because my office, at some point here, I'm going to redesign it. And you'll actually be looking at a different wall. And what I want to do when I redesign it is I want to have a couple different angles to do different types of videos. So different backgrounds for different things. But we'll figure it out. Timothy Reaper says Fireball is the bestest whiskey ever and the second bestest drink ever behind Jepson's Malort. He also says, my name is Nick Ricada, and I think Monica Rial has an attractive body and a wonderful personality. Also, Ron Toye is a strong and wise man. Okay. Okay. I get it. I see where this is going. Toyman99, my new desk has not arrived. I think it ships in May. Dick Dynamo says, hey, Nick, could you please check out a YouTuber, Brian Martin? He's mostly known for Minecraft Prawn Lost Lawsuitos 20 million Twitter hilarity ensues. Yeah, someone was explaining that to me. I've got to look it up. I will check into it. I don't know anything about it. On Wednesday, yeah, which was just yesterday. It feels like a lifetime ago. Just yesterday I heard about it. So, but I don't know anything about it. Kiwi Goes Live says, Nick, I may have recommended this before, but Chad as well needs to see Mom and Dad starring Nicolas Cage and Selma Blair. It has the absolute best use of a pop song in a horror movie ever. It's not on Prime, so rent it. That is two people that I legitimately never want to see in a movie. Nicolas Cage and Selma Blair. I can't think of two people that I want to see less that are like actually noteworthy names. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that one. Let's see. Stormcrow 900 says, hope this makes you mad. Sixth Circuit ruled ATF banning bump stocks wrong. Gun Owners of America. What is that? Why would that make me mad? That sounds like that'll make me happy. $9 hours ago? Let's take a peek at this guy. By the way, if you're wondering what the show is going to be tonight, it's literally this. We're going to be looking at stuff as it comes up and going where my brain goes. And if you're not okay with that, well, maybe you should file rape charges then. United States Court of Appeals. Spam Cracker says, you're still a coward for not answering me back about anime stream. Probably. But I don't remember what you sent. Sorry. All right, United States Court of Appeals for the 6th Circuit. Let's take a synopsis look here. Question before us is whether a bump stock may be properly classified as a machine gun defined by 26 USC 5845B. We will use the modern spelling of machine gun as 2 words unless quoting 26 USC 5845B, which spells machine gun as 1 word. Okay? But this case rests as much on who determines the statute's meaning as it does on what the statute means. On December 26th, the Bureau of ATF and Explosives, ATF and E apparently, promulgated a rule that classified bump stocks as machine guns, reversing its previous position. That was Trump, by the way. Trump's ATF. One of the dumb things that Trump did. Stabby, yeah, I linked the GoFundMe in the chat yesterday. But we may look at it again in about 30 minutes. Plaintiffs, appellants, 3 gun rights organizations, 2 individuals who own bump stocks, and 1 individual who would purchase a bump stock if not for the final rule, filed a motion for a preliminary injunction to prevent the final rule from taking effect. After finding that the ATF's interpretation was entitled to Chevron deference, the district court held the final rule's classification of bump stocks as a machine guns was a permissible interpretation. Accordingly, the court concluded that plaintiff appellants were unlikely to succeed on merits and denied the injunction. Because an agency's interpretation of a criminal statute is not entitled to Chevron deference, and because the ATF's final rule is not the best interpretation, we reverse the district court judgment and remand for proceedings consistent with this opinion. This doesn't make me mad. This makes me super happy. This makes me laugh. That's a great opinion. So far. Okay, this is a 60-page opinion, so we're not going to look through all of it. We've got a history of machine guns. I'll start reading this at some point. Procedural history, standard of review, Chevron deference. An agency's construction is not or should not be entitled to deference. When construing a criminal statute, we agree and conclude that Chevron deference categorically does not apply to the judicial interpretation of statutes that criminalize conduct. Because the definition of machine gun applies to a machine gun ban carrying criminal culpability and penalties, we cannot grant Chevron deference. In what turned out to be a landmark decision, Chevron versus Natural Resources Defense Council introduced the concept of Chevron deference. An administering agency's interpretation of a statute is entitled to deference from the courts. Chevron is rooted in a background presumption of congressional intent, that Congress intentionally delegated interpretive authority to the agency, blah, 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 blah. Despite becoming the most cited administrative law case of all time, Chevron did not appear at first to be a major decision in administrative law. That a third of its members were sidelined due to the recusals of Justices Marshall, Rehnquist, and O'Connor reduces the likelihood that the court intended to make a tectonic shift in administrative law. By the way, did you read with me? It's the most cited case in administrative law. And it was made without 3 of the conservative justices as they recused themselves. I'm sure. And by the way, during a wholly conservative court, the Rehnquist court. So you've got Justice Marshall, Rehnquist, and Sandra Day O'Connor. This is the wiles of American jurisprudence, y'all. The entire law, our entire legal structure, upended entirely when 3 judges weren't even there to decide on it. Okay, real quick. Precedent. I want to get down to let's get down to the meat of this thing. Separation of powers. Whatever the merits of giving Chevron deference to an agency's interpretation of civil statutes, the principal rationales behind that policy cannot be extended to support giving deference to an agency's interpretation of criminal statutes. Declining to grant Chevron deference to agency interpretations of criminal statutes respects the community's responsibility to make value-laden judgments on what should be criminalized, upholds the separation of powers, complies with the rule of lenity, and avoids fair notice concerns. Because the ATF's interpretation is not entitled to Chevron deference, we must determine the best meaning of the criminal statute and whether a bump stock falls within the statutory definition of a machine gun. Of course it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. You can't determine a bump stock falls in the statutory definition of a machine gun because it is multiple pulls of the trigger. It is multiple mechanical actions. In sum, based on the text and context, and further supporters of the Supreme Court's interpretation in Staples, we conclude that the phrase "the single function of the trigger" refers to the mechanical process of the trigger, not the shooter's pulling of the trigger. Consequently, a bump stock cannot be classified as a machine gun. Yeah, but even this, though, the shooter pulls the trigger every single time. They're pulling the trigger with every single shot on a bump stock. That's the whole point. The stock causes a mechanical response which pushes the trigger back against the finger. I mean, I guess you quibble about the word pull, maybe. Elsid, S15, says, my attempt to make you mad. Lawyers are parasites. No, that's just a fact. Lawyers are the worst people ever. So automatically... We need not address or decide whether the ATF or plaintiffs' appellants have the better interpretation of automatically. Yeah, because it's not a machine gun. So here we go. There's a dissenting opinion. Oh, good. I'm sure that's not full of cuckery. Let's just read the conclusion. Consistent with our precedent and mandated by separation of powers and fair notice concerns, we hold that an administering agency's interpretation of a criminal statute is not entitled to Chevron defense. Consequently, the district court erred by finding that the ATF's final rule, which interpreted the meaning of a machine gun as defined in 26 U.S.C. 5845B, was entitled to Chevron deference. And because we find that single function of the trigger refers to the mechanical process of the trigger, we further hold that a bump stock cannot be classified as a machine gun because a bump stock does not enable a semi-automatic firearm to fire more than one shot each time the trigger is pulled. Accordingly, we find that plaintiffs' appellants are likely to prevail in the merits and that their motion for an injunction should have been granted. Therefore, we reverse the judgment of the district court and remand for proceedings consistent with this opinion. Bump stocks are back on the menu, boys. Wow. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I love that. Thank you, Stormcrow, for alerting me to that. I'll have to talk about that soon. Kiwi Goes Live says, Nick, I could never make you mad. I love you, platonically. I refuse to deny Lady Rackets her source of LD, which is Spanish for the D, as in David Draymond of Disturbed. Get down with the sickness. Ooh, wah, ah, ah. Morty J says, was going to enjoy some Monster Hunter Rise while listening to you tonight, Nikki, but Capcom just said they're releasing it midnight Western when I'm Central. Can we just get rid of the nonsense and go to Eastern? RIP. Nope. Nope. California, baby. Nivok to Orc says, did you hear that the California public school system passed the counter-genocide of whites and wants their students to start praying to the Aztec god of human sacrifice and wanting them to become warriors of social justice? Yep, I did. I read that, and then I heard it was weird. I heard a rumbling, and I went outside, and I listened, and I heard God flushing the toilet. I don't know what's coming. I don't know what's coming, but I did hear a giant toilet flush. So, is that a joke? No. Nope. That's not a joke. Ron Crossman, did you see the Florida Court of Appeals tell Broward County their gun ordinances are not legal? Nope. That's great. This is all good. You guys are giving me good news. Stephen F. says, hey, Nick, you got to cover a walkthrough of this one vid. Woman arrested in Bank of America for not wearing mask. Please review. Also, bank has her money in custody. It's outrageous. Uncivil. Hey, what's going on, buddy? I'm glad you reviewed that. Did you see these gun things? Oh my God. Lost Bullet says, I, Nick Ricada, believe no American needs an AR-15 and there ought to be large and overreaching limits on free speech. If I, Nick Ricada, backtrack or disavow this statement, then I, Nick Ricada, am a Maddox. Son of a bitch. Mailing you so many blankets. Mark Owen says, isn't it funny how everyone said that mass shootings would come back when Biden got in office? We all knew that's how they were going to try to take our guns. Yeah, it's amazing. Wendell 2020 says, sure, Nick. Sup, Nick? I hope you're having a good day. These things are debatable. Would you have Nux, Taku, or Project Melody back on your show again? The last show was really enjoyable. Any day. I love Nux Taku. He was hilarious. Had a great show with him. Fully enjoyed it. I would love to have Melody on too, as I think she's pushing the boundaries of speech. And I think she's doing it in a way that people aren't shaming her for, right? Like, I would love to have the Ghetto Gaggers guy on, but people don't like Ghetto Gaggers, right? Like, they find it degrading or something. I don't know. I don't know what their problem is. Like, I don't know if they've been to antifaabuse.com, but there may, in fact, be a website called antifaabuse.com where every single person in that is an Antifa. I mean, that might exist. I don't know if they've been there, but I don't know why anybody would find Ghetto Gaggers to be objectionable or offensive in any way. So, but I want to talk to that guy because he's on the edge of speech and people don't, they kind of go after him. I want to talk to Melody in the opposite way because she's on the edge of speech, but a lot of people like her. She's really, really popular. Popular. People think it's personable. Don't go to any links I just mentioned unless you're an adult. Okay. I was gonna do something that's gonna be infuriating. Someone wanted me to cover Joe Biden's press conference today that he had. Mega Man, I think says Melody or really any of them at Shoho or Shoujo. But isn't Melody the only like live action hentai or the hentai streamers? Eugene Ford says, "Yo, did Vic win or not?" Well, Vic lost at the trial court stage. We're waiting for his appeal. It has now been approximately 6 months. The real rules of the appeals court are that they have about 9 months. However, there is no enforcement of that rule. There's no one who's going to say, "Yo, appeals court, you got to get this case out there." So, it could come any Thursday, but it did not come today. Today is not that day. So we have to wait another week, possibly another 3 to 6 months. I mean, it really, there is no firm time by which they will have the opinion out. Generally speaking, they have about 9 months. It's a complicated case. There were 8 points argued before the court. And the record was rather voluminous. Something like 3,700 pages in the clerk's record. So there's a lot. There's a lot to go through, and whether or not that's impacting it, I have no idea. But that's where Vic's case is. Yeah, I would humbly suggest that the status of Vic's case is a lower priority in general. Vic is doing appearances. Vic has his Twitch show. Vic has been doing audiobooks, and I hope he has many more projects to come. Because he's a very talented and fantastic guy. I think it would be great to see him expand on Twitch. I think it would be a really, really cool thing to see him use Twitch or some other live streaming service to connect with people and to share his insights on voice acting, on music creation, on all sorts of stuff. The guy's very talented and can do a lot of things. So at this point, of course, winning the lawsuit would be wonderful, but I don't think it's critical to his further success. Insert here says, I turned 21 on Monday. Wish me a happy birthday. No. Why would I? Just kidding. Happy birthday, man. Enjoy. He says, and also, when are you going to have Drex back? Well, I had him on last Friday. I don't know when he'll be back again because I'm going to Florida for next Friday. So next time our schedules match up, will I go on his show? Sure, anytime. If he invites me, I would be happy to do his show so long as I'm available. Yeah, always like to talk to Drex. Do you think that what Biden is trying to do with guns is unconstitutional? Yes. Also, you're simping for Drex. Lol, this chat worth the $20. I'm simping for Drex. Okay, cool. I got it. Pablo Rodriguez says, well, signing off now. Thanks for the recommendation, Nick. Look. Just, Antifa responsibly. Let's say that. How's that one? Tina says, I, Nick Ricada, think men should express their emotions more. In fact, I cry all the time. There's nothing wrong with a man crying. Okay, you know what? I'm putting up with some shit today, but that takes the damn to another level. I don't need these on yet. We're going to look at that Biden press conference in a minute. But I got to check on the status of my I'll check on the status of my chat here, or my comment. Okay. First of all, stop doing that. We're not going to watch this video. It's not mine. However, I think everybody should. If you're interested in the Juji versus Tom lawsuit, if you're not familiar with who Juji is, you've probably seen at least a clip of his video where he is in the splits, like on chairs or something, and he's got a overhead press of a barbell with a bunch of weight on it. That's Juji. And Tom was his cameraman. And there's a spat between them, and Juji has sued Tom for $100,000 or more than $100,000. And here's a great summary explanation from probably the funniest lawyer on YouTube, and that's Infinite Elgintensity, aka the Traposaurus, aka the Trapper Keeper. AKA kills more women than Trapaquitic. Wait, shit. That's probably a bad one. Okay, anyway. I like this guy a lot. He's really funny. And he usually just makes fun of people in the gym, but he's also a lawyer. And he's very based and red-pilled on some things. But he explained it. So, in it, Tom was crying like a lot, like a fucking nerd, sitting there crying, reading about how he didn't steal any money or whatever, reading off his phone. Maybe we should just watch that portion of it. Let's do that. That we can do. I strongly recommend watching this video in its entirety, though, because Infinite Elgintensity is hilarious. Also, he deserves the views because he's really funny. Okay. Let's listen to Tom here.
Folder and Grip Genie or the YouTube channel. While I did take money out of my own company, Grip Genie, of which I am the majority stakeholder, or was, some of the rumors and unfounded allegations are untrue.
What a defensive so-called apology. Your own company. You still had to get approval from your business partners before you took money out.
I've openly shared my ups and downs during the last 4 years publicly.
Do you hear the quiver in this guy's voice? God, it's awful. Here, I'm linking the video so you guys can watch it later if you want.
Via YouTube, and in the spirit of maintaining that vulnerability, I admit that I could have done many things differently.
The cameras weren't rolling when you looted the company, but okay. After saying that he's vulnerable and that he made a mistake, he wishes Jujimufu the best, and then goes on to his personality issues.
Many of the events filed in the initial lawsuit lack context.
Okay, I'm done. That's all you need. That's all you need, right? Listen to this guy. Listen to this guy. So my comment was simple. Can this nerd stop crying? Jesus Christ. And then what I get, look at what I get here. Hey, look, a macho man who thinks expressing your emotion is for sissies. Well, when you're crying in public, it is for sissies. Stop fucking crying in public. What is happening? For the thick ones, not defending Tom, just calling out this buffoon acting like an 8th grade gormless bully. What is gormless? What is gormless? So then we've got FLM Kane says, what if I told you Ronnie Coleman is a nerd? Who's Ronnie Coleman? He's a weightlifter, right? Okay. I don't care about Ronnie Coleman. So then I said to that Aditya guy up from above, stop fucking crying. Who's Ronnie Coleman? And Charlie says, I don't really care that he's a nerd, but the crying does come off as being a bit manipulative. Yeah, stop crying. Stop crying. Man up. You're recording a video. Have some goddamn dignity. What is wrong with these people? Like, if you cry the first time, re-record the video. If you cry the second time, re-record the video after taking some testosterone pills. Yeah, I got you in just a second, Cringe Lord. That's just, it's not like he's live out in public and he just got called out on stealing a bunch of money from the company. By the way, being a majority stakeholder doesn't mean that it's your company. It just means that you own the most of it. But guess what? That means other people own the rest of it. Like the majority of stakeholder of Disney just taking $1 billion for personal use. Be like, well, it's mine though. No, it's not. It's not. You have shareholders. This is a privately held company, so they don't have shareholders, but they do have stakeholders. And they had an operating agreement that said you can't do that without permission from the other stakeholders. Anyway, yeah. So, God, what a baby. What a baby. Terrible. William Smith says, Nick, I'm going to launch my original epic war fantasy story, The World Storm, as a YouTube series in the near future, and I think it's right up your alley. Channel is called Apilia Multimedia. No content yet, but coming soon. Awesome, William. Let me know when you got some stuff up there. We can share it around. Happy to do so. Cringe Lord says, quote, try to make me mad. End quote. Reminder that if you are a strict believer in the Constitution, the states can carve out plenty of firearm exceptions, including lowering the clip size of your AR-15 to 2 bullets, you fascist right-wing coomer. Wrong, Cringe Lord. If you are a strict believer in the Constitution, you recognize the amendment process that was put in there by the founders, and that amendment process included the 14th Amendment, which applied equal protection of the constitutional provisions of the Bill of Rights specifically and of the Constitution generally to the states and to the municipal governments and to just about every government agency that there is. So if you're a strict believer in the Constitution, you believe that the states are bound by every aspect of it through the 14th Amendment. If you are a person who believes in only the original Constitution and you want to bring back slavery, for example, you would ignore the amendments to the Constitution and say that they don't matter, or at least say that the ones after 10 don't matter due to the amount of time that has passed since the original ratification. However, that would be a silly read. So take that. Take that. Let's get that Joe Biden press conference. Highlights. It's an hour? It's an hour long? Why is this an hour long? Let me see if he's there the whole time.
Thank you.
Oh my God, he's there the whole time. How'd they even keep him standing for an hour? We're not going to watch all this. We'll watch a few minutes.
Thank you.
I'm already mad. Why are they so far apart? Everybody's fine. Stop. Stop it. I bet all of these dummies have been vaccinated. They're all fine. They're 20 feet away from each other.
Good afternoon. Before I take questions, I want to give you a progress report to the nation on where we stand 65 days into office here, on vaccinations and a few other top priorities for the American
Put your mask on, Joe. We would feel better about it.
people. First, on vaccinations. On December 8th, I indicated that I hope to get 100 million shots in people's arms in my first 100 days. We met that goal last week by day 58, 42 days ahead of schedule.
Under promise, over deliver. It's the easiest thing in the world. He knew exactly how far the Trump vaccination program had gone. He had updates on the progress. Picking a target of 100 million was an easy thing for him to do. This is not at all. Guys, I worked in sales. I know exactly. I've got personal maintenance on this fucking screen. I know exactly how this works, and nothing about this is impressive. Nothing at all. You just go ahead and say, oh, yeah, it's probably going to take us a week to get it done. 2 days later, guess what? We got it done in 2 days. You knew you could have had it done in 3 hours. You knew you could have had it done in 3 hours, but you didn't want to have it done in 3 hours. So instead, you set their expectation at a week, and then you go ahead and deliver in 2 days.
Now today I'm setting a second goal, and that is we will, by my 100th day in office, have administered 200 million shots.
I bet he hits 200 million by like day 78 or something like that.
In people's arms. That's right,
What
200
about
million shots in 100 days. I know it's ambitious, twice our original goal.
It's not ambitious. It's not ambitious at all. It's not. It's not ambitious because you know you can meet the goal. In fact, you know you can meet it sooner. If it were ambitious, it would be something bigger or ridiculous, but it's not.
No other country in the world has even come close, not even close to what we are doing. I believe we can do it.
We're the ones manufacturing it. They better not come close. If some other country was coming close, we should be legitimately pissed that they're taking our vaccine. Loric Project says, hey, Nick, I don't drink any cinnamon. I didn't drink any cinnamon jack tonight, but I did something just as bad. Binge awful isekais. Oh, rookie mistake. Don't do that.
And today, we made a historic investment in reaching the hardest hit and the most vulnerable communities, the highest risk communities, as a consequence of the virus, by investing an additional $10 billion in being able to reach them.
$10 billion. $10 billion. I mean, 10 billion.
I also set a goal before I took office of getting a majority of schools in K through 8 fully open in the first 100 days. Now, thanks to the enormous amount of work done by our administration, educators, parents, local, state education officials, and leaders, recent Department of Education survey shows that nearly half of the K through 8 schools are open now full-time, 5 days a week for
It shouldn't have ever been closed. You didn't need to close the schools. Creeper Weirdo says, Nick, have hope we can get through this. Also, Nick, black pill streams, white pills not allowed. RZEQDW says, super hot bartender hit on me all night. Hey, you know what? I've been meaning to tell you, full homo. You're looking good, man. Saw you hitting the gym. You had that nice personal shot up the other day. That was good. Yeah. Go get it, son. Bartender hit on you all night. Got her number. That's never happened before. She's a very attractive weeb cosplay e-girl. Oh, shit. She's probably kick Vic. So sorry, Nick. It's not personal, but I'm going to have to denounce you. Denounce me all day. Denounce me all day. Tell her later when she finally breaks up with you. Be like, oh, yeah, by the way, I know that guy. Do that. Do that. I give you full permission to denounce.
Person learning. Not yet a majority, but we're really close, and I believe in the 35 days left to go, we'll meet that goal as well. As of yesterday, more than 100 million payments of $1,400 have gone into people's bank accounts. That's real money in people's pockets, bringing relief instantly almost. And millions more will be getting...
Instantly almost. I mean, not really, Joe. You've been elected for 56 days. They had the bill on the table for $2,000 stimulus. What? While you were still not inaugurated. That's not almost instantly. It took you over 2 months to get that out. Wendell 2020 says 10 billion. Don't be surprised if taxes go up this year or in the next 4 years. Also, Nick is a simp. I'm a wingman. I'm a hype man. I'm a hype man. 667MD says, Nick, buddy, don't worry. This is filled with gaffes and hilarious, demented commentary that even left the press corps shaking their heads afterwards.
Getting their money very soon. One final note. Since we passed the American Rescue Plan, we're starting to see new signs of hope in our economy. Since it was passed, a majority of economic forecasters have significantly increased their projections on the economic growth that's going to take place this year. They're now projecting it will exceed 6%, a 6% growth in GDP. And just this morning...
Oh, yeah, that 6% growth in GDP came from you, right? Right? GDP growth in 2021 is definitely going to be the result of the president who took office in January. It have nothing to do with the 2020 president or the fact that 2020 was an abysmal GDP year. None of that's going to matter. It's all going to be because of Biden. 6%, 6% growth. After 2020, we're going to be cheering on 6% growth in GDP.
We learned that the number of people filing for weekly unemployment insurance fell by nearly 100,000 persons.
That's because it increased by like 250,000 last time.
It's the first time in a year the number has fallen below the pre-pandemic high. So there are still too many Americans out of work, too many families hurting, and they still have a lot of work to do. But I can say to you, the American people, help is here and hope is on the way.
Hold on.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
Sorry. I just needed that to play for you guys.
Now I'll be happy to take your questions. Zeke,
What's
the
up,
Associated
Zach?
Press.
What's up, Zach Osborne?
Thank you, Mr. President. You mentioned your progress on COVID-19. I'd like to ask you about some of the other issues facing your presidency. One of the defining challenges you face in the coming months is how to deliver on your promise to Americans on issues like immigration reform, gun control, voting rights, climate change. All of those right now are facing stiff, united opposition from Republicans on Capitol Hill. How far are you willing to go to achieve those promises that you made to the American people?
Well, I'm good. Look, when I took office, I decided that it was a fairly basic, simple proposition, and that is I got elected to solve problems. And
No, no. You got elected as not Trump. That's how you got elected. That's the only way. Oh my God.
the most urgent problem facing the American people, I stated from the outset, was COVID-19 and the economic dislocation for millions and millions of Americans.
That was caused by government. The government caused it. The state governments who didn't want Trump to be in office anymore caused the economic dislocation. They created a problem for somebody else to solve. It's the most disingenuous bullshit, and it was propped up by a complicit fucking press in the biggest sham of an election ever, which has nothing to do, that my statement about the sham of the election has nothing to do with anything involving vote counting at all. It was rigged without counting a single vote. It was rigged by the press. The press is the problem. The press created a problem. The press and the liberal states put everybody out of work. Everybody, the right-leaning states who held off, their governors, their politicians were shamed and threatened into submission. And if they didn't submit, they were castigated constantly. They got nervous. Even Greg Abbott pulled a bitch up in Texas. Even Ron DeSantis at a point bitched up in Florida. The only governor who didn't was Kristi Noem, and that's probably only because it was South Dakota, and it's just not as big as some of the other states. Everybody was pressured on this thing by the press, by the people who wanted Trump out. They created the problem. They created the narrative about the problem. They controlled every fucking word that came out. You weren't elected. You were anointed by a press that wasn't, because you weren't Trump. And it could have been any other useless sack of Alzheimer's in that fucking seat, you disgusting pile of garbage.
And so that's why I put all my focus in the beginning. There are a lot of problems, but all my focus on dealing with those particular problems. And the other problems we're talking about, from immigration to guns and the other things you mentioned, are long-term problems. They've been around a long time. And what we're going to be able to do, God willing, is now begin one at a time to focus on those as well. And whether it's immigration.
He's experiencing microphone drift right now. Like, I'm going to do this during a show. Just what we're experiencing is, look, I'm going to talk to you over here now. Why? Stay in front of the microphone, you weirdo.
Or guns, or a number of other problems that face the country. But the fundamental problem is getting people some peace of mind so they can go to bed at night and not stare at the ceiling wondering whether they lost their health insurance, whether they're going to lose a family member, whether they're going to be in a position where they're going to lose their home because they can't pay their mortgage, or the millions of people are going to get thrown out of their homes because of the inability to pay their rent. So we're going to move on these one at a time, try to do as many simultaneous as we can, but that's the reason why I focused as I have. And here's the deal. I think my Republican colleagues are going to have to determine whether or not we want to work together, or they'll decide that the way in which they want to proceed is to just decide to divide the country.
Oh my God! Did you see how long it took him to say that? And then what he ends up saying is divide the country, which is just, you can't say they're either with us or against us. And if they're against us, they're dividing the country. That's not how division works. That's not how division works. Lorick Project says, Nick, shoot those Reagan quotes into my arm.
Continue the politics of division. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to move forward.
You literally just did. You just did, you dumb.
And take these things as they come.
To follow up, Mr. President, can your presidency be a success if you can't make progress on those 4 challenges: climate change, immigration reform, gun control, voting rights?
Well, I plan on making progress on all of them, but that's going to be for the American people to decide. I think.
How's it for us to decide? How's it for us to decide? The press already decided for us.
You know, I doubt whether, maybe you did, maybe others did. I thought, many of you thought there was no possibility of my getting the plan I got passed.
Oh, yeah. It was real. Oh, God, I'm sure it was real hard with a majority Democratic House and Senate for you to get your plan implemented. Oh, my goodness.
Without any Republican votes.
You didn't need any Republican votes. You didn't need any.
Pretty big deal.
No.
Got passed.
Wow.
Growing the economy.
Yeah.
People's lives are changing.
People's lives.
So let's see what happens. All I know, I've been hired to solve problems, not create division.
You've been doing nothing but creating division the entire time.
Okay. How about Yamish?
Who? Yamish?
Thanks so much, Mr. President. You've said over and over again that immigrants shouldn't come to this country right now. This isn't the time to come. That message is not being received. Instead, the perception of you that got you elected as a moral, decent man is the reason why a lot of immigrants are coming to this country and entrusting you with unaccompanied minors.
Nope. False. What? What is this? Do they have to... Is the microphone in Joe Biden's urethra, so they have to put his penis in their mouth before they ask the question? They're not coming here because he's a moral and decent man. People are coming here because they're expecting amnesty and because they're expecting full-on acceptance and no deportations. There's nothing to do. Like, that is a separate issue from being moral and decent. I'm not even saying Joe Biden is not a moral and decent man. He might be. I don't know the guy. I don't want to know the guy. But that has nothing to do with the fact that he's saying, yeah, I'm putting a 100-day moratorium on deportations and we're looking at amnesty for everybody. Oh, okay. Well, vamonos, andale, arriba, let's go, right? Like Speedy fucking Gonzalez. Let's get across the border as fast as possible before the old man changes his mind.
How do you resolve that tension? And how are you choosing which families can stay and which can go, given the fact that even though with Title 42, there are some families that are staying? Is there a timeline for when we won't be seeing these overcrowded facilities run by CPB when it comes to unaccompanied minors?
Well, look, I guess I should be flattered. People are coming because I'm the nice guy. That's the reason why it's happening. That I'm a decent man, or however it's phrased. That's why they're coming, because Biden's a good guy. Truth of the matter is, nothing has changed. As many people came, 28% increase in children to the border in my administration, 31% in the last year in 2019 before the pandemic in the Trump administration. It happens every single solitary year.
There's a difference. Trump was trying to send them back. Blackwing Wing 02 says, halt, speech please. You got a license for those opinions. Wendell 2020 says, hey Nick, why does Biden sound like a psycho? Well, he's sweet but a psycho. A little bit psycho. At night he's screaming, I'm out my mind.
There is a significant increase in the number of people coming to the border in the winter months of January, February, March. It happens every year. In addition,
Yeah, you don't want to walk through Mexico in June or July, that's for sure.
in addition to that, there is and by the way, does anybody suggest that there was a 31% increase under Trump because he was a nice guy and he was doing good things at the border? That's not the reason they're coming. The reason they're coming is that it's the time they can travel with the least likelihood of dying on the way because of the heat in the desert, number one. Number two,
why don't you broadcast as a compassionate and nice person that the border is closed? Why don't you do that? Tell people we cannot let you in. Please don't come. Don't traverse the desert in the winter or the summer. Don't do it. We can't do that.
they're coming because of the circumstances.
V says, see ya, just a lost subscriber? What for? Before you go, V, tell me why. What did I do?
In country. The way to deal with this problem, and I started to deal with it back when I was United States Senator, Vice President, putting together a bipartisan plan of over $700 million.
Oh, no, not me. Okay, I was like, what happened? I was so confused. Oh, is it because I quoted Ava Max? You were telling the lost subscriber bye? Oh, okay. Did someone else say that I lost a subscriber? Let's see here. Let me see what we got. That was gay cringe, Nick. You just lost subscriber. Oh, it was Shadows King. Oh, okay. Sorry. It's yeah. I was confused. Take a shot or I unsub? Look, it's up to you guys. We're only at 775 likes. I'm already like 3 shots deep. And I haven't even opened this Jameson coffee yet, which you can't possibly make me drink that because that would make me mad.
Dollars to do with the root causes of why people are leaving. What did Trump do? He eliminated that funding. He didn't use it. He didn't do it. And in addition to that, what he did, he dismantled all the elements that exist to deal with what had been a problem and has been continued to be a problem for a long time. He, in fact, shut down the number of beds available. He did not fund HHS to get the children out of those Border Patrol facilities where they should not be and not supposed to be more than a few days.
Why are they there at all, Joe?
A little while. But he dismantled all of that. And so what we're doing now.
Why do you keep the press out of them, Joe? Why do you do that? Why aren't you transparent about it? Why can't Psaki answer any questions about it?
Now is attempting to rebuild the system that can accommodate what is happening today. And I'd like to think it's because I'm a nice guy, but it's not. It's because of what's happened every year. Let me say one other thing on this. If you take
that doesn't make any sense, by the way. Well, it happens every year, therefore, why does it happen every year? It's almost like you have the power to make it not happen, but you don't.
Take a look at the number of people who are coming. The vast majority, the overwhelming majority of people coming to the border and crossing are being sent back.
Oh, are they?
Thousands, tens of thousands of people who are over 18 years of age and single people, one at a time coming, have been sent back, sent home.
Where are the numbers on
We're
that?
sending back the vast majority of the families that are coming. We're trying to work out now with Mexico their willingness to take more of those families back. But that's what's happening. They're not getting across the border.
They're not getting across the border, guys. It's fine. They're not getting across the border. Don't worry about it. Thousands are, man, thousands. Lorik Project says, look, I'm compassionate, but it's time for landmines. Woo. Woo.
And those who are coming across the border who are unaccompanied children, we're moving rapidly to try to put in place what was dismantled, as I said.
How are unaccompanied children coming across the border? They turn away families. They turn away single people, apparently, who are adults. How are unaccompanied children coming across the border? Does that mean if a child shows up unaccompanied, they're just like, oh, yeah, here you go. You can come in, I guess. How's that happening? Why is that happening?
For example, of all the children who are coming across the border, over 70% are either 16 or 17 years old. We're not talking about people ripping
Why are you letting them in?
babies from mother's arms or little 3-year-olds standing on the border. Less than, I think it's 1.5%.
Why would you take a baby from a mother's arms and bring him across the border and not the mom? Why are you bringing anybody in? I don't get it. Look, guys, you probably disagree with me on immigration. You guys probably do. And that's fine. My perspective on immigration is that we have incentivized immigration. We started it really heavily in the 80s. We incentivized an immigration where people come in and stay. We used to have a cyclical immigration cycle where people would come in, work, and then leave. But we incentivized them to stay. And we did that through offering them the same sort of benefits and protections that citizenship granted. I am actually, in the abstract, I am for a more porous border than we have. In the abstract. In the present, we can't have a more porous border because when we bring somebody across it, we're like, oh, by the way, here's a house, here's welfare, here's yada, da, 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 here's all these programs, here's a social security card, and you can stay forever. Nope. No. That is not sustainable. That can't work. And so what we used to have people who would come into Texas, California, Arizona, New Mexico. They'd come for the growing seasons. They'd come for harvest. They'd get some American dollars. They'd take those American dollars back home to Mexico in the off seasons and they'd do something else. That's not that big of a deal. We dealt with that for a very long time. It wasn't actually a problem. Then we started implementing policies that made people want to stay. Both punitive policies and incentivizing policies. But in the end, it made it more dangerous for them to cross back across the border, and we gave them a bunch of sweet deals to stay home. So in present day, we have created a system where it's better to come across the border anywhere now, not just in certain states where you can grow things, and then go home easily. Nothing like that. That doesn't exist anymore. Now it's people who come here in caravans of thousands of people to find permanent placement and benefits in the United States. They come with almost nothing. They come oftentimes with menial job skills. These are not people getting employment visas. We've changed the game. And until we change it back, we've got to shut it down. We've got to shut it down. And don't mind me. I'm not actually talking about legal migrants with work visas either. There was no like real concept of illegal immigrants prior to like 1957. Generally speaking, illegal immigrants were a specialized class of people from a specific set of restricted countries, which happened usually during times of war. But that was prior to the Immigration Naturalization Act of 1954 or 57 when we created these categories. And then those went with minimal enforcement, and then that all changed. And then once the enforcement changed, the benefits changed. It's just a mess. It's a mess now. We've destroyed the American immigration system. We've created a system that incentivizes people to cross illegally rather than legally and to pray for amnesty. And it's amazing. And now we talk about it as if it's some sort of unforeseeable and unfixable problem. Oh man, what are we going to do about it? I don't know. Maybe just shut the border down. Start there. Then stop giving benefits to people who come across the border illegally. No benefits for non-citizens and non-visa holders. This isn't hard. And benefits for visa holders are actually pretty limited in general. It's not like you get a visa, you come across, and then, suddenly you get a bunch of welfare. It doesn't work that way, typically speaking. So it's like we could do a lot by simply removing benefits for non-visa holders. All right. Lorik Project says he's letting them in so he can sniff them. Regards the kids. Gross. We got a couple more minutes. I can't watch much more of this.
Fall in the category of the very young. So what we're doing is we're providing for the space, again, to be able to get these kids out of the Border Patrol facilities, which no one should be in any longer than 72 hours.
You shouldn't be in them at all, Joe.
And today, I went to, for example, I used all the resources available to me, went to the Defense Department, and the Secretary of Defense has just made available Fort Bliss, 5,000 beds.
Oh, good. We'll just, thanks. That's great. Let's just bring a bunch of illegal immigrants and put them in a U.S. military fort now. 5,000 beds. Cool. Just put them in Fort Bliss.
Be immediately available. 5,000 beds in the Texas border. So we're building back up the capacity that should have been maintained and built upon, that Trump dismantled. It's going to take time. And the other thing we're doing, I might add.
You guys got mad at Trump. You lied and said he put kids in cages. Oh, he dismantled it. Yeah, he dismantled the cages that you and Obama built.
Am I giving you too long an answer? Because if you don't want the detail. No, but I mean, I don't know how much detail you want about immigration. Maybe I'll stop there and finish.
My follow-up question is,
God.
One, if you could talk a little bit about which families, why they're being allowed to stay, what the families that are being allowed to stay, why they're being allowed to stay. In addition to that, when it comes to the filibuster, which is what Zeke was asking about, there's immigration is a big.
Did you see that face? He's like, when did Zeke ask about the filibuster?
Issue, of course, when it related to the filibuster, but there's also Republicans who are passing bill after bill.
How do you spell filibuster?
Trying to restrict voting rights. Chuck Schumer is calling it an existential threat to democracy.
Why not back a
filibuster rule that at least gets around issues including voting rights or immigration? Jim Clyburn, someone, of course, who you know very well, has backed the idea of a filibuster rule when it comes to civil rights and voting rights.
Well, look, I'm going to deal with all of those problems. The question is the priorities as they come and land on my plate. Let's go to the first question you asked, the first of the second questions you asked. and that is, what about dealing with families? Why are not some not going back?
Was that, I thought her second question was about the filibuster. Oh. Wendell 2020 says, "Hey Nick, look at the like to dislike ratio on the Biden video." Oh yeah, it's abysmal. It's abysmal.
Because Mexico is refusing to take them back. They're saying they won't take them back, not all of them. We're negotiating.
Negotiate. We won't take back our people. Yeah, too bad.
Negotiations with the president of Mexico. I think we're going to see that change. They should all be going back. All be going back. The only people we're not going to let sitting there on the other side of the Rio Grande by themselves with no help are children. And what we're doing there, and it's an important point to understand.
The cartels will help them, Joe.
I don't mean to say it that way. An important point to focus on. The vast majority of people under the age of 18 coming to the United States come with a telephone number on a wristband, or come with a telephone number in their pocket in the United States.
Yeah.
A mother, a father, a close relative, a grandmama or grandpa. What was happening before is it's taking literally weeks.
Not a mother or father, probably. I'm gonna guess it's not a mom or dad. Like a kid is coming to the United States to call their mom or dad who's in the United States. Probably not.
Weeks and weeks and maybe even months before anybody pick up the phone and call to see if there really was someone there. Well, we've set up a system now where within 24 hours there's a phone call made as that child crosses the border. And then a verification system being put in place as of today to determine quickly whether or not that is a trafficker being called or that is actually a mom, a dad, and or a close relative. They're establishing that right off the bat. If it in fact is mom or dad, dad says, to take the extreme case, I got a birth certificate. Then guess what? We're getting that kid directly to that parent immediately. And so that's going to reduce significantly. There's two ways to reduce child populations in circumstances that are not acceptable, like being held at a Border Patrol station. One is to get them to the place where they have a relative and set a date as to when a hearing can be held. The second way to do it is put them in a Health and Human Services facility that we're occupying now, both licensed beds around the country that exist, as well as, for example, federal resources like Fort Bliss, to get them safely in a place where they can be taken care of while their fate is determined.
Their fate is determined.
Filibuster.
I got filibuster.
With regard to the filibuster, I believe we should go back to a position of the filibuster that existed just when I came to the United States Senate 120 years ago.
Whoa. Hold on. I'm backing that up.
Filibuster. Filibuster. With regard to the filibuster, I believe we should go back to a position of the filibuster that existed just when I came to the United States Senate 120 years ago. And that is that...
That was not a joke. That was not a joke. That was not a joke. He's 100% has no idea that he just said that. There's not a smirk on his face. He doesn't pause for laughter. No one laughs, by the way. Just like when I came to the Senate 120 years ago.
It used to be required for the filibuster, and I had a card on this. I was going to give you the statistics, but you probably know them.
They don't.
That it used to be that from between 1917 and 1971, the filibuster existed. There were a total of 58 motions to break a filibuster. That whole time. Last year alone,
That's just barely under one per year on average.
there were 5 times that many. So
So?
it's being abused in a gigantic way. And for example, it used to be you had to stand there and talk and talk and talk and talk until you collapsed. And guess what? People got tired of talking and tired of collapsing. Filibusters broke down and we were able to break the filibuster, get a quorum, and vote. So I strongly support moving in that direction, in addition to having an open mind about dealing with certain things that are just elemental to the functioning of our democracy.
The Benzie will stop
Like the
soon.
right to vote, like the basic right to vote. We've amended the filibuster in the past. But here's the deal. As you've observed, I'm a fairly practical guy. I want to get things done. I want to get them done consistent with what we promised the American people. And in order to do that,
Look, this number was used before, and this many, which is more than that number, was used since. Therefore, abuse. Wait, why? Just out of curiosity, what establishes abuse, or that either of those numbers are either proper or improper usages of the filibuster? Like that doesn't establish anything about abuse or normative or appropriate, that ignores things like composition of the houses, the House and the Senate, ignores all sorts of stuff. Why is it abuse? Who's doing it? What's it in reference to? Like I said, we're going to be done with this in just a minute. I want to get through this issue and then we're going to be done.
the 50-50 Senate, we've got to get to the place where I get 50 votes so that the Vice President of the United States can break the tie, or I get 51 votes without her. And so I'm going to say something outrageous. I have never been particularly poor at calculating how to get things done in the United States Senate. So the best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, we're ready to get a lot done. And if we have to, if there's complete lockdown and chaos as a consequence of the filibuster.
What was that? What was that thing? Anyway, I want to get something done. Did he get a little shocker in the booty or whatever to get him woken up? Oh, God. Okay. You guys saw me pour it. This is Jameson cold brew. Have you ever been to like a church function or whatever, where they have those big ass coffee pots, like a filter that's like this big around, and opened one up and found coffee granules from the day before? Or like you go to like a festival and you work at the back of some sort of festival and they've got all those coffee filters with all the grounds thrown in the garbage can, and that nasty funk coffee smell of just shitty burned Folgers like coming out of it. That's what this smells like. Gosh, it's disgusting. Oh. Oh, God. What's up, Az? Oh God. Oh. Oh. God, I hate coffee. Oh. Oh God. Oh, I hate you guys. Oh. Oh God. Oh. Let's see if we can find the gun control. I'll open the transcript here. Gun control is mentioned here at 51 minutes. Let's go back. Here, this'll be it. Let's do this answer.
He works.
Mr. President, sorry, I know you haven't had a chance to address the tragedies in Georgia and Colorado. You had said to stay tuned for actions that you might take on gun control. Wondering if you've made a decision either about sending the manufacturer liability bill that you had promised on day one to Capitol Hill, or executive actions like going after ghost guns or giving money to cities and states to battle gun control.
All the above. It's a matter of timing. As you've all observed, successful presidents, better than me, have been successful in large part because they know how to time what they're doing, order it, decide on priorities, what needs to be done. The next major initiative is, and I'll be announcing it Friday in Pittsburgh in detail, is to rebuild the infrastructure, both physical and technological infrastructure of this country.
Are the physical and technological infrastructures not built? Are they not built? Because I feel like they're built. So rebuilding them.
So that we can compete and create significant numbers of really good paying jobs.
Yeah.
Really good paying jobs. And some of you have been around long enough to know that used to be a great Republican goal and initiative.
Yeah, by the way, Trump was creating all kinds of great jobs until 2020 when the Democrats in various states shut down the entire nation, but okay. Remember, he's not divisive, though, right? He's not dividing anything.
I still think the majority of the American people don't like the fact that we are now ranked, 85th in the world in infrastructure. I mean, look, the future rests on whether or not we have the best airports that can accommodate air travel, ports that you can get in and out of quickly, so businesses decide. Some of you, if you're ever local reporters.
First of all, this is rambling nonsense. But second of all, you do realize, you dumbass, that the TSA is the cause of why airports can't be done in a quick and efficient fashion. Like, you've got this show theater bullshit going on, and you've shut down the TSA lanes in multiple areas. So you're limited and restricted to the TSA ports that are even open at an average airport. All because you're doing show theater, which is completely and utterly ineffective. I mean, you realize that, right? Like that's the reason that the airports aren't running fast. It's because you front load the problem.
And you found your governor or mayor trying to attract business to your community. What's the first thing the business asked? What's the closest access to an interstate highway? How far am I from freight rail?
I don't think that's the first thing that businesses ask. Honestly, I really don't. I think they have Google Maps. And so they can see how close they are to an interstate highway. They can see how close they are to freight rail. It's pretty fucking easy. A business who's looking to move into a different city has already done that. They're not asking the mayor.
Is the water available? Is enough water available for me to conduct my business?
What? Well, is there enough water available to me to power my millstone? What are you talking about?
All the things that relate to infrastructure. We have somewhere, I asked the staff to write it down for me, and they did, not for this, but...
I asked the staff to write it down for me. My handlers didn't help me with this one. I don't know where it is.
For a longer discussion, we have somewhere in terms of infrastructure, we rank 13th globally in infrastructure.
I thought we ranked 85th in infrastructure. You just said that.
China is investing 3 times more in infrastructure than the United States is.
China builds highways to ghost cities that don't exist to prop up their fucking currency and manipulate the currency against us, you weirdo. Their infrastructure is useless.
Bridges, more than 1/3 of our bridges, 231,000 of them, need repairs. Some are physical safety risks.
Close them. Why won't you close them? If you know they're a physical safety risk, close the bridge.
Or preservation work. 1 in 5 miles of our highways and major roads are in poor condition. That's 186,000 miles of highway. Aviation, 20% of all flights weren't on time, resulting in 1.5 million hours lost in production.
You guys caused it. The government caused it. You know, I remember flying as a kid. Flights weren't full. They weren't crowded. They were roomy. They had food. You didn't have to pay for luggage. And they were generally on time. The idea of your flight being late or canceled was weird. Now, it's different. Maybe what we need to do is we need to fix the sky lanes. We're gonna get some crews up there, and we're gonna work on those sky roads that the airplanes drive on, cause we gotta improve the infrastructure at airports. Joe, it's not the runways. It's not the highway leading to the airport that is causing delay. It's TSA. It's TSA. It's various restrictions that you've put on airplanes that have increased the cost of flying that they've passed on to consumers. But by the way, airlines found out after you guys increased their costs that when their costs were removed, they could keep price the same, and they made a fucking windfall. 2020 is justice for the airlines.
6 to 10 million homes in America still have lead pipes servicing their water lines. We have over 100,000 wellheads that are not capped, leaking methane.
Leaky methane, baby.
What are we doing? And by the way, we can put as many pipe fitters and miners and us to work capping those wells at the same price that they would charge to dig those wells.
Hey, Joe. Thank you for that wonderful question, wonderful answer about infrastructure. What I asked though was about gun control.
So, I just find it frustrating. Frustrating. Talk about. Last point I'll make in the infrastructure, and I apologize for spending more time on it, but is that if you think about it, it's the place where we will be able to significantly increase American productivity, at the same time providing really good jobs for people.
God, who fucking doesn't want to work highway construction? Am I right?
But we can't build back to what they used to be.
What? Why?
We have to build, the environment's already, global warming's already done significant damage.
Where? Where has global warming done significant damage? Somebody answer me this question.
The roads that used to be above the water level didn't have to worry about where the drainage ditch was. Now you got to rebuild them 3 feet higher because it's not going to go back to what it was before. Only get worse unless
But it's not 3 feet higher. The water level's not 3 feet higher.
we stop it. There's so much we can do. Look at all the schools.
What are
in
you
America.
talking about?
Most of you live in the Washington area now, but in your hometowns, I don't know where you're all from. How many schools where the kids can't drink the water out of the fountain?
Zero? Zero except for Flint, Michigan? Kids can drink, I mean, you never want to drink water out of a school fountain anyway because you'll get AIDS and herpes. But Jesus, like, all of them, you can drink water out of them except for maybe a particular town that has a boil notice going on.
How many schools are still in a position where there's asbestos?
Not that many.
How many schools in America we're sending our kids to don't have adequate ventilation?
Very few. What are
How
you
many
talking
homes,
about?
buildings, office complexes are wasting billions of barrels of oil over time because they can't hold in the heat or the air conditioning?
I guarantee you that zero homes, buildings, or office complexes are wasting billions of barrels of oil. His question was, how many homes, buildings, office complexes are wasting billions of barrels of oil? Zero. There's not a single home, building, or office complex wasting a billion barrels of oil over time because they can't hold in heat or the air conditioning. That's not a thing. It's not. None of them are wasting billions of barrels.
Because it's leaks through the windows that are so porous in the connections. It's amazing. So there's so much we can do that's good stuff, makes people healthier, and creates good jobs. And I think that I got one more question here. And Janet from Univision.
Oh, I'm sure this is going to be great. Always love hearing the wisdom coming out of Univision. Jeremy Griffin says the emperor has no clothes, and here we are in a society acting like this naked crazy loon is well clothed and fully sane.
Thank you, Mr. President. We too have been reporting at the border, and just like Cecilia, we ran into a pair of siblings who came in on Monday, were detained by CBP, had the phone number for their mother who lives in the U.S.
Why were those kids not with their mom? How'd the mom get to the U.S.? What is happening?
we have contacted the mother. That's the only way they know her kids are here, because CBP today, Thursday, has not contacted that mother. So when can we expect your promise of things getting better with contacting and expediting?
Well, they're
the
already
process?
getting better, but they're going to get they're going to a whole hell of a lot better real quicker. We're going to hear some people leaving.
And we're going to hear some people leaving? Huh?
Okay, we can get this done. We're going to get it done. I had a long meeting with the entire team and several cabinet level officers the other night. We're going to be moving within the next week over 100,000. I mean, 1,000 people out of the Border Patrol into safe, secure beds and facilities. We're going to significantly ramp up. We're already out there contacting everyone from getting some of the employees at HHS. There's a lot of them doing other things and move them into making those calls. We're in the process of rearranging and providing for the personnel needed to get that done. But I admire the fact that you were down there, you're making the calls yourself.
Give her a job, Joe. Do you hate women?
It's real. The next thing that has to happen, though, as you well know, has to happen. There have to be some certitude that this is actually mom, dad, or whomever. And there's ways to do that. There's ways to do that, a little bit like determining whether or not you got the right code for your credit card.
Huh? The kids have credit cards? Are you checking the CV whatever code on the back?
What was your dog's name, kind of.
Yeah, there you go. That's how we determine it. What was your dog's name? I think they call that Perro. What was Perro's nombre? Nombre de Perro, por favor, man, or whatever.
I'm being a bit facetious, but not really. And also seeking hard.
How are you verifying this? You're being facetious, but you're not. That's the problem, is we know you're not. What do you actually do?
Data from DNA to birth certificates, which takes longer. So I want to do this as quickly, as humanly possible, and as safely as possible.
As you well know, treating the root causes in Latin America doesn't change things overnight. How do you realistically and physically keep these families from coming to the U.S. when things will not get better in their countries?
Run, lady! Run! He's coming to sniff! No! Run! Get the Univision chick out of there! Get Secret Service on him! He's got that. Look at that! That's a sniffing look! Run!
Right away.
Well, I can't guarantee that, but I know, that old thing, the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. You know as well as I do. You cover it. You have it's not like somebody's sitting on a hand-hewn table in Guatemala, in somewhere in Mexico or in Guadalupe saying, I got a great idea. Let's sell everything we have. Give it to a coyote. Have them take our kids across the border into a desert where they don't speak the language.
No, Joe, that's actually what happens. That's real. That is. Yeah, it's not like you have families saying, I know what we'll do. We'll sell everything we have and send our kids to a coyote to send them across the border where they don't. No, Joe, yes. That's how it happens. That's how it works.
Won't that be fun? Let's go. That's not how it happens.
How does it happen? I don't think the only thing that doesn't happen is they don't say, won't that be fun? That's it.
People don't want to leave. When my great-grandfather got in a coffin ship in the Irish Sea, expectation was he going to live long enough on that ship to get to the United States of America? But they left because of what the Brits had been doing. They were in real trouble.
Those Brit
They didn't want
bongs.
to leave, but they had no choice. So I can't guarantee we're going to solve everything.
It's As did it. It's what heel versus babyface was doing to the Irish. It's your fault we have Joe Biden, you bastard.
But I can guarantee we can make everything better. We can make it better. We can change the lives of so many people. And the other thing I want to point out to you, and I hope you point out, I realize it's much more heart-wrenching, and it is, to deal with a 5 and 6 and 7-year-old. But you went down there and you saw the vast majority of these children.
Did he get a cocaine injection? Look at his eyes. Oh my God.
70% are 16 years old, 17 years old, and mostly males. Doesn't make it good, bad, or indifferent, but the idea.
Joe, would you like to know why you're only catching the 16 and 17-year-old males? Because they're the hardest to traffic. That's the sad, awful reality of this, is that 16 and 17-year-old males are resistant and have lower market value than everyone else for traffickers. They would much rather have younger males, younger females. And you don't catch those because they don't come to the border to ask for help. They get smuggled across the border while you're dealing with the old kids, with the old boys. That's when the 16-year-old girls are taken across the borders, raped by the coyotes. If they live through that, they then get to go to the trafficker. They don't get a fucking phone number on their bracelet, Joe.
Idea that we have tens of thousands of kids in these god-awful facilities that are really little babies crying all night. There's some, that's true. That's why we got to act. And yesterday,
yeah, those babies walking to the border by themselves is weird.
I asked my team, both the director of the two agencies as well as others, I asked them what would they in fact, and I asked their opinion because they're the experts, but I said, focus on the most vulnerable immediately. But there's no reason why in the next month as people cross the border, that phone call can't be made in the first 48 hours and begin.
If I may ask one last question, have you had any talks with Senate Republicans who are threatening this administration with not considering the immigration legislation that was passed in the House until the situation at the border has been resolved?
No, because I know they have to posture for a while. They sort of got to get it out of their system. This is a, but I'm ready to work with any Republican who wants to help solve the problem or make the situation better. But folks, I'm going. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
It's like he had to poop. I think he had to poop. Well, folks, I'm going. Thank you very much. Harumph. I missed the border facility question. Let's see what else we got here. The one in Donna, Texas? That one? Here we go. Look at this face. Paul Durfee, thank you for the donation. Very appreciated. Here, we'll take this one real quick.
Follow, sir. You mentioned circumstances that must be horrific. The Customs and Border Protection Facility in Donna, Texas, I was there, is at 1,556% capacity right now with mostly unaccompanied minors. There are kids that are sleeping on floors. They are packed into these pods. I've spoken to lawyers who say that some of these children have not seen the sun in days. What's your reaction? What is your reaction to these images that have come out from that particular facility?
Project Veritas. Project Veritas is the reason this reporter is even asking this question, by the way. Notice what she said? What is your reaction to the images coming out of that facility? That's Project Veritas. She won't credit James O'Keefe, but that's who it was.
Is what's happening inside acceptable to you? And when is this going to be fixed?
That's a serious question, right? Is it acceptable to me? Come on. That's why we're going
Yes, it's a serious question to you.
to be moving 1,000 of those kids out quickly. That's why I got Fort Bliss opened up. That's why I've been working from the moment this started to happen to try to find additional access for children to be able to safely, not just children, but particularly children, to be able to safely be housed while we follow through on the rest of what's happening.
Poor Paul Durfee. His message keeps getting retracted. Just tag me, Paul, with the message. Your message keeps getting censored by Google. Just tag me. You don't have to. I mean, you can send me super chats, more super chats if you want, but you don't have to. I'll read it if you just tag me, because I know you're getting censored to shit by Google.
That is totally unacceptable. Ken.
Okay, there you go. There's the border facility question. There it is. Is that a serious question? It's unacceptable. Joe, you're in charge. You're the guy. Paul Durfee says, I'm studying for the LSAT right now. I'd like to be a Second Amendment advocate. Do you know what school I should go to or what area of law I should focus on? Yeah, I got an idea for you. Hold on. I got to get the guy's name. Shit. Okay. Josh Blackman is the lawyer. Just trying to figure out. South Texas College of Law in Houston. Josh Blackman. That's the guy. That's the guy. He's a lawyer and an associate professor at the South Texas College of Law in Houston. I don't know anything else about the college. You can check it out. But if you want one of the dudes in the fucking trenches on Second Amendment, that's the guy. He teaches at South Texas College of Law in Houston. So if I were going to go personally and be a Second Amendment advocate, I would go learn from the guy who's doing the Second Amendment advocacy right now. That's who I would do it. But that's where I would go. I'm out. There's a transparency question. Biden's response was ridiculous. All right, here we go. I found it.
people a chance to see that. Will you commit to transparency on this issue?
I will commit to transparency.
Wait.
The facilities in which children are packed together to really give the American people a chance to see that. Will you commit to transparency on this issue?
I will commit to transparency, and as soon as I am in a position to be able to implement what we're doing right now. And one of the reasons I haven't gone down, all my chief folks have gone down, is I don't want to become the issue. I don't want to be, bringing all the Secret Service and everybody with me to get in the way. So this is being set up, and you'll have full access to everything once we get this thing moving.
Okay, just to be clear, how soon will that be, Mr. President?
I don't know, to be clear.
Okay, and do you bear responsibility for everything that's happening at the border now? I hear you talking a lot about the past administration. You decided to roll back some of those policies. Did you move too quickly
to roll back what, I'm sorry?
Policies. Did you move too quickly to roll back some of the executive orders of your predecessor?
First of all the policies that are underway were not helping at all. Did not slow up the amount of immigration and as many people coming. And rolling back the policies of separating children from their mothers, I make no apology for that. Rolling back the policies of...
Yeah, you got a bunch of children separated from their mothers in your facilities, Joe. I don't know. Look, it'll be transparent once I like the optics. That's what he said, by the way. It'll be transparent once he likes the optics of it. The hurricane was before that. Okay, hold on. Here we go.
The head of state, because so many are corrupt. But I was able to say, okay, you need lighting in the streets to change things? I'll put the lighting in. We got a contractor. We got the type of lighting. We paid directly to the contractor, did not go through the government. And violent crime significantly was reduced in that city. Fewer people sought to leave. When this hurricane occurred, the two hurricanes, instead of us going down and helping in a major way so that people would not have a reason to want to leave in the first place because they didn't have housing or water or sustenance, we did nothing. We're going to do a lot in our administration. We're going to be spending that $700+ million a year to change the life and circumstances of why people leave in the first place. That mother did not sit around on the kitchen table and say, I got a great idea. Way I'm going to make sure my son gets taken care of is I'm going to put him, how old was he or she?
He's 9. I also met a 10-year-old.
A 9-year-old. I'm going to send him on a 1,000-mile journey across the desert and up to the United States because I know Joe Biden's a nice guy and he'll take care of him. What a desperate act.
They literally think you're going to put them into a program, Joe. That's what they think is going to happen. It had nothing to do with a hurricane, you weird person. All right, I'm done with Joe Biden. Done with Joe Biden. All right. How depressed do we want to get, guys? How depressed do you want to get on this? We'll start with this one. This is the light depression, then we'll get into the dark depression in a second. All right? We'll start with the light stuff. You guys made me drink coffee, whiskey. This is on you. Fact check. Altered image used to falsely claim CNN called Boulder suspect morally white. All right, that's the fact check. This is from USA Today's fact check. Altered image used to falsely claim CNN called Boulder subject morally white, okay? The claim, CNN reported the Boulder, Colorado suspect was Arab but morally white. Social media users are sharing a doctored image that purports to show a CNN graphic that called Boulder, Colorado shooting suspect morally white. Ahmad Aliwi Alyssa, 21, is accused in the March 22nd shooting rampage that left 10 dead at King's Supermarket in Boulder. The altered graphic appears below a CNN image of CNN journalists Brooke Baldwin and Lucy Kafanov. The meme, posted to Facebook March 24th, has more than 1,000 shares. USA Today reached out to several accounts that had posted the meme for comment. Look at this. This is amazing. Who would have committed this horrific criminal act of doing this? The same image appeared in a March 23rd article by the satirical website The Babylon Bee. Since then, the altered image has spread across platforms without disclosure that it is doctored. The Babylon Bee did not respond to USA Today's request for comment. Matt Dornick, head of strategic communications for CNN Worldwide, confirmed in an email to USA Today that the image was doctored. It's yet another fake and offensive image circulating on social media. CNN never aired that, Chiron, he wrote. CNN's actual report with Baldwin and Kafanov on the Boulder shooting demonstrates the graphic was altered. The March 23rd report is available on YouTube. The image used in the meme has a timestamp of 1:01 p.m. Mountain Time. The graphic CNN displayed at the time read, Colorado shooting suspect booked into jail today. USA Today examined the full report and confirmed that the graphic seen in the meme was never displayed by CNN. It's the Babylon Bee! Of course it was never displayed! They tell the truth through comedy, though. They tell the damn truth through comedy. Our rating is altered, a widely shared image of a purported CNN report with a graphic that calls the Boulder, Colorado suspect morally white is altered. The original CNN report and a company spokesperson confirmed that the image has been doctored. Our fact check sources, the Babylon Bee. That's the first black pill. This one, I don't know if this is actually a black pill. This is actually just interesting. Piss off. Oh, come on. Just a second. All right. Felony rape charge doesn't apply if victim got drunk on her own, Minnesota Supreme Court rules. Whoa! Whoa! The Minnesota Supreme Court on Wednesday overturned a Maple Grove man's felony conviction for sexual assault because the victim got herself drunk before the incident. Francois Khalil, then 20, picked up an intoxicated woman outside a Dinkytown bar in 2017, took her back to a North Minneapolis home and raped her after she passed out on a couch. The woman testified, according to court records. The Hennepin County jury in 2019 convicted him of third-degree criminal sexual conduct. Khalil's attorney argued the felony charge does not apply because that statute is for cases in which the victim had drugs or alcohol administered to her without her agreement. Ding. A divided Minnesota Court of Appeals affirmed Khalil's conviction, but the state Supreme Court disagreed, overturning the conviction and granting Khalil a new trial. Justice Paul Thiessen wrote that the prosecution's interpretation of third-degree assault unreasonably strains and stretches the plain text of the statute. The relevant section of third-degree criminal sexual conduct applies to cases where the victim is mentally incapacitated due to drugs or alcohol that was administered to the person without that person's agreement. You know what's interesting about this? The guy admits to the rape. The guy admits to it. But the prosecutors wouldn't charge him with fifth-degree criminal sexual conduct. The fifth-degree conduct, which both defense lawyers and prosecutors agreed was the appropriate charge. Defense lawyers were like, yeah, this is fifth degree. That's a gross misdemeanor, not a felony. They refused to charge him with that because they had to get that felony, though. They had to get that felony. Do we have a picture of the defendant? I could probably find it. Just a second. Man, it's hard to find this one. This is the best one I got, but I don't think it's him. I don't know. I don't think that's Francois Khalil. I don't think so. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Might be my fault. Let me check it with this one. Is this the guy? This might be the guy. We can see. This is a Twitter account. Francois Khalil, right here. That could be him. I don't know. It doesn't say anything about him. Who else we got? Yep, that's the closest we've got. I don't know if that's him at all. I have no idea. Anyway. Kind of French sounding. Well, like, could be Armenian, right? There's some French speaking North African countries. The relevant section of third-degree criminal sexual conduct applies to cases where the victim is mentally incapacitated due to drugs or alcohol that was administered to that person without the person's agreement. Thiessen wrote that the legislature clearly intended to limit the statute to situations where the victim did not voluntarily drink to intoxication. Rather, it's for situations where the victim was given alcohol surreptitiously, for example, when someone spikes a punch bowl at a party. Thiessen acknowledges that a common-sense understanding of mentally incapacitated could include someone who drank voluntarily yet cannot exercise judgment sufficiently to express consent to sex. But that's not how the statute was written. In Khalil's case, his accuser had swallowed 1 pill of prescription drug and 5 shots of vodka before a bouncer refused to let her into the Dinkytown bar. Let's talk about this for just a second. This is important. This is important. Not only did she drink 5 shots of vodka, she also took a prescription pill. They don't say what it was, along with the vodka. And then she went to a bar. When she got to the bar, the bouncer at the door said, "You are too drunk. You are too drunk visibly for me to let you in." That's how trash this girl was already. That's pretty drunk, just so you know. So anyway, he admits to it. I read a chunk of the opinion, the facts specifically. Thiessen wrote that attorneys for both sides agree the facts of the case constitute a crime, but a less serious one. Fifth-degree criminal sexual conduct or gross misdemeanor, which carries lighter penalties. Prosecutors did not try Khalil on that charge, but now could look to recharge him. So, there you go. Overzealous prosecution. It's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. This guy, they could have put him away for fifth-degree criminal sexual conduct. He admitted to the conduct. And to be clear, this guy seems to be a piece of shit. It's not like a Brock Turner situation. This is not a situation where there's like, oh, well, she consented. No, he literally admits that she was passed out and he pulled her panties down and started banging this chick. And then she woke up and said, no, I don't want to. And he said, but you're just so hot, though, and kept going. He admitted to all of it. Good logic. Gross misdemeanors are a year. A year in county is the maximum penalty. Year in county and something like $5,000 to $10,000 fine. What's up, Good Logic? Guys, Good Logic is this man, this poor man, is out there on Twitter, and he was brigaded today by the same law Twitter orbiters. He's got fat ass Catherine Tewson. He's got mentally handicapped Rich Savoyra. He's got Master Yui, the dumb pile of garbage. All of them brigading him and absolutely not being able to read a single point that he's making. In embarrassing fashion, they can't even formulate a single cognitive thought. It was pathetic. Pathetic. And all he said was, hey, when the Supreme Court ruled in New York Times versus Sullivan, it acted outside of their judicial power. They legislated from the bench. That's all he suggested. And he had a conversation the other day, which you should probably check out if you're interested in free speech issues. He had a conversation with Ron Coleman, who is a high-profile attorney, works with Harmeet Dillon, the lady who represented James Damore. He had a conversation with Ron Coleman, a philosophical conversation. These dummies on Twitter have no idea that you can have conversations about the law and recognize that the law is not what you think it should be. It doesn't process to them. It doesn't process to them. It's amazing. So anyway, make sure you guys check out Good Logic for great discussions on legal issues. He's also doing Yeoman's work there on Twitter, dealing with the absolute dregs of humanity. All right, guys. Are you ready? Are you ready for the actual final black pill of the stream? Drexel sent this to me just a little bit before the show started. And he ruined my entire day. Cop steps out to have sex with her boss for 4 hours. Leaves her 3-year-old daughter to die in a car. Cassie Baker, 29, a Mississippi cop, left her 3-year-old daughter in her car for 4 hours to have sex with her boss. While she left the air conditioner in the car on, it did not work, thus raising the temperature in the car, which killed her daughter. I'm not going to go through the whole article. There's a reason I wanted to talk about this article, though, because I wanted to just share a conversation that I had in law school and let you know where people are on this. The good news on this article, and it's not great news, but it's good news. She got 20 years in prison. She is going to prison for 20 years. So I was curious, though, what you guys think. That's my opinion of the good news on that, I guess. I was curious what you guys think. Should a parent who leaves their kid in a car and the kid dies, should they be punished criminally? I'm starting to see there's a delay and I'm seeing okay, you guys are with me. I don't see a single no. I don't see a single no. There's one. He said just a troll no. Okay, this is my favorite one. It says, what the fuck? Yes, are you insane? All right. Now let me tell you a story real quick. So I'm in law school. I'm in criminal law. And you'll have to pardon me. Like I said, I killed my emotions a long time ago. But if there's something that gets me close, it's stories like this. These hurt. I can't even picture what it would take for me to leave a child in a car. By accident, on purpose, it doesn't matter. Like, I can't, like, I'm not crazy, right? I will, if I'm going into a gas station or something, I can leave like a 10-year-old in a car. Someone who can get out of the car. I can understand that. Oh, excuse me. So like I'm not one of those psychos or whatever who are like, if you leave a kid in a car for 5 minutes, you should be put to death. No. There's all sorts of considerations, reasonable considerations. Is it 60 degrees out? Is it 90 degrees out? Those are big differences, right? But that being said, we're in law school, we're in criminal law, and we're discussing the case of a guy who he left his kid in a car. This is not the same. This was not the same. This is a different scenario, okay? So this guy, what he did was he normally drove to work alone. This particular day, there was a scheduling issue. He was supposed to drive his kid to the daycare, drop the kid off at the daycare, and then go to work. He got like a phone call or something while driving. His brain hiccuped, and he didn't drop the kid off at daycare. Instead, he just drove to work. Kid was quiet in the car, whatever it was. He gets out of his car. This is his story. I mean, so you can believe it or not, but we'll take it as true. Gets out of his car, closes his door, goes up to his office. Yeah, I've told this story before, so you've probably heard it from me, if not from somewhere else. During the day, like while he's working, his car alarm goes off from stuff happening inside the car. He turns off the alarm. He's in his office. He's like, what the hell? Looks outside. No one's breaking into his car. Bloop, bloop. Turns on the, fixes it. Couple times that happens. Goes out after work. His toddler's dead in the car. Okay. So we had a question of, should that guy be punished? Should that guy be criminally punished? And there's a sentence when this judge was sentencing this woman. It reminded me of this story. I say yes. I say yes, absolutely. He should be punished. As a young parent, when I just had one kid, right? When I wasn't used to all this, my wife and I, we would paranoidly check the car when we're alone. You always look in the back seat all the time. You always look in the back seat because you worry that this person, like God has entrusted you with this life that can't make it without you. You can't do it. So you always, even when you don't have the kid, if you got a car seat in your car, you're like, oh shit. Oh, thank God. Whew, no kid in the car, right? I can go into the porn store or whatever. You always are checking the back seat. Got your rear view mirror so you can see the kid in the back seat. You got noise and all sorts of shit. Little noisy devices and rattles and stuff so you can hear a kid moving. So to me, I'm like, yeah, you should punish this guy. You should punish this guy. And you should definitely punish this chick too. That's my opinion. I think in my class, I was the only person who said yes. The porn store, it was a joke because you wouldn't take a kid into a porn store. That was a joke thing. That was a joke thing. That was a joke. There may have been one other person, but they weren't talking. I was the only one. 40 lawyers. Would be soon to be lawyers, right? His second year of law school. So, you weed out a bunch of people in the first year usually. And so these are 40 people, of which statistically 39 of them are going to be lawyers at least. And 40 of them said no, don't punish him. His punishment will be his own mind. I can't fathom that perspective, personally. Dr. Nick too. Yeah, I had to explain the porn thing. Yeah. I mean, I am for like not putting everybody on earth in prison, right? I do think we have a prison population problem. I think we have an incarceration sentencing problem. I think we could solve a lot of problems without putting people in prison, in general. But where I draw the line is on killing people, especially kids, man. So the way I analogized it to, because some classmates, so not only this, I got I got to tell you this. Now, couple things. Second year law school, I've already been a parent for years. A lot of these kids, and I'll call them kids because I was significantly older than a fresh lot of them, they weren't parents. And when they become parents, their perspective will probably change. Right? Probably going to change. First Last says, real quick, he says, okay, but you wouldn't leave a kid alone for 4 hours with the AC running? What if it's not a car? What if it's their bedroom? Window unit goes out, that's the parent's fault? I'm not going to leave a toddler, a 3-year-old alone for 4 hours in a house. No, I'm not going to do that. And never have. I don't know that my wife and I have ever left a toddler alone in a house at all. I'm less worried about the AC going out. I'm more worried about them falling downstairs, grabbing a knife, eating a plastic bag. No. So no, I wouldn't leave a toddler alone for 4 hours ever. I think we waited till where about I was, 8 years old-ish. You can leave the kid alone for an hour or so, maybe something like that. That's about where we were. And that hour, was like a walk in the neighborhood type stuff. It's not like we were driving miles away. That we don't, we never did. We never did. Now, I'm not going to condemn every parenting style ever, but for me, no, I would never leave a toddler alone for even a half hour to an hour in a house. I don't think that's a safe thing. But to get back to the story, now a lot of these kids were not parents yet, and so they may have. I suspect their opinions will change a little bit as they have their own kids. But I was not only the only person who spoke up, who said yes, the guy should be punished in the class, at least vocally. I was confronted by other students after class. And they asked me they're like, how do you justify punishing the parent? His mental anguish will be, his parent will be punished by his own mind and his own guilt. And I said, okay, so to put it into like a legal analogy, here's how you got to look at this. If you paid a babysitter, for example, to drive your kid to daycare, and your babysitter had a brain freeze and went to the grocery store rather than taking the kid to daycare, and they left the kid in the car at the grocery store and the kid died, would that babysitter be liable? And they said, yeah, of course they would. And I said, but would that babysitter feel guilty about leaving the kid in the car and killing him? Well, yeah. And I said, okay, so why would the babysitter be punished and not the parent? And they're like, well, they had a duty to the parents. And I said, no, they had a duty to the child. Their duty of care is to the kid. Duty of care isn't to the parent. The kid isn't like a laptop or something that melts in the back seat. That's a person. You're protecting the right. The criminal law is protecting the right of the child, not of the parent's right to the child. And this is their backwards thinking. They said, oh, wait, well, since the kid is dead, we're only concerned with the right of the parent. And since the parent has lost the right to the child, that's enough of a deprivation. I said, no. The law protects the kid and their right to live. That's what the protection is for. So anyway, I wanted to end this stream on a black pill. It was a trick stream. I'm sorry, guys. I tricked you. I deceived you. Drexel had already, by the time I got on the show, had already made me mad. Already made me mad. So, I figured I'd share that with you guys. Did my professor say anything? Oh, my professor was firmly on the side of we shouldn't punish the parent. My professor also decided to skip the rape section of criminal assault because it might make people uncomfortable. So that's the bullshit. We're going into criminal law, and they're like, well, we won't talk about rape. I'm sorry? You're going to skip criminal sexual misconduct? Well, it might make people upset. You're going to skip a significant aspect of criminal law that we need to know? Prosecution or defense, whatever you end up with. They skipped it, so that was great. Jim Horman, that it's funny. He says, no wonder your school shut down after you left, Raggets. Not to like put too fine a point on it. I have no pride in my law school. I liked 2 professors in it just fine. I tolerated about 3 more, and that's it. Okay. I have no pride in my law school. However, I have to give my law school credit. It didn't shut down after I left. It merged with another school. The location was the same school that I went to. They preserved the majority of it. They just merged the 2 names. So it went from William Mitchell to Mitchell Hamlin. And the bulk of the staff that remained were from the original law school. So it got the better end of that deal than the other law school that folded. And that law school's facilities closed down. Its professors moved over, a couple of them anyway, and stuff like that. And that law school was struggling to make ends meet, whereas mine had increasing class size and stuff like that. So, yeah. So, but again, no pride for my law school at all. It's nothing to write home about. I didn't go there because it was a good school. I went there because it met my schedule. Angry Baneling says, would you teach law at a school if it asked nicely with a chonky paycheck? No school would ask me with a chonky paycheck. They'd hire you as an adjunct professor, and you'd make an abysmal amount of money, like $5,000 to $10,000 a semester. Just embarrassing. So no. Ryan 1096 says pre-screened question with pre-written answers. Notebook with reporters' pictures and who to call in numbered order. Kind of like the kid in Mercury Rising, right? No interruption when Biden goes way off topic of the questions asked. I knew it was bad, but what the hell? Yep. Terrible. Snuggle Struggle says, hey, Nikki, remember mainstream media covering Chinese nationals caught in airports with unidentified liquids hidden within their bags, allegedly for professors? Good thing they got them into the country before a strange epidemic hit. No, I don't remember that story. I'm not familiar with it, but that's kind of interesting. Law McCaw says, my trial advocacy professor was paid $3,000 for the semester. Yeah, adjunct professors get paid absolute shit. I make way more than adjunct law professors make doing this show. Now, the idea is that adjunct professors are typically, they've got other income, and that's a part-time extra gig. But would you guys take a part-time job for $3,000 a semester? I wouldn't. That's $6,000 a year for a part-time job, and that part-time job involves dealing with asshole law students. No, thank you. Jason McConnell with a big chat. Hey, thank you. Captain of the Exxon Valdez was in his cabin when it wrecked. Captain of the Titanic was in his cabin when it hit the berg. Nobody ever doubted their responsibility. Parents have a responsibility. End of. Absolutely. Absolutely. Jackson Kai says, I've watched parents bury their own kid through no fault of their own, get divorced afterwards, blaming themselves and each other, their other kids, Never the same. I'd want to be put in jail if I did that. Full guilty plea. Me too. Me too. What did I like best in law school? I liked constitutional law and national security law, probably because the professor I had was hilarious. Great guy named John Radson. Afshin John Radson, a national expert on U.S. drone strikes at the time. I don't know if he still is. But former general counsel for the CIA. Great professor. Get him on the show? I could invite him. I don't know what he's doing these days. He was great. He's hilarious. Wrote a bunch of law articles that all ended with "before Obama kills you," which was fun. But I didn't, I didn't embrace the full law school experience because I was a parent and I lived 2 hours away, and I was a husband, and so it was like I would go to school, and I would quickly, I took night classes at first, so I would go to school at night. I'd drive 2 hours in the evening, get to school, take my night classes, and then I would go to my parents' house. My parents lived closer to law school than I did. They lived about 15, 20 minutes away. I lived 2 hours away. So I would go to my parents' house, I'd sleep the night, I'd wake up, I'd study or whatever, and then I'd go to class the next night, and then I'd go home. And then once I finally got more in charge of my schedule, I did night classes and then morning classes the next day, and I would go home the next morning. So I didn't do like internships and externships and all that shit. I didn't have the time for it, frankly. Did I make a pit stop at the local Popeyes? Yeah, almost every time I drove home from school. There was one right on my way. I shouldn't say right on my way. It was about 1.5 miles off the highway, and I would go there all the time. All the time. Okay, let's do these chats. Let's do these chats, and we're going to wrap up the show. There will be a Twitch show. We're going ghost hunting tonight on Phasmophobia. I got a couple guys. I think we've got a couple guys from the Discord to join. I'll have to check. Chibi Dirt Golem says the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals is the best court the United States has ever seen, and their most recent decision allowing Hawaii to dictate when a private citizen may or may not carry their own firearm is enlightening. Did I make you angry? Yes. Yes. Oh, and I have to give a shout out to Anonymous on Kiwi Farms, because he pointed out something about the Ninth Circuit. The Ninth Circuit's en banc review isn't actually en banc. It's not actually en banc because not all of the justices sit. They actually select the justices for the Ninth Circuit out of not Anonymous, not the mod for it's Anonymous, I think, from Kiwi Farms. The Ninth Circuit actually has their en banc review has a limited selection of justices, which is ridiculous. So, thank you to Anonymous for pointing that out. He said it shouldn't be called an en banc review because it's not en banc. I agree. Why is that? It's because it's such a big area. I mean, it's California, Washington, Oregon, I think Nevada, and also Hawaii. It's just such a huge geographical area with so many judges. Pixlexia says, you claiming the chat is why you are late is peak lies. No wonder your nose is starting to rival the circumference of Renfamous's gunt. It never will. Joseph Kerwin says, has Ty tried washing the Vic case with warm soapy water? Oh, I did some more painting today on As the Stream. I can show you guys. I got both arms purple now. The purple on both arms. I added a little bit of black trim here. And you can't really tell, but I added some silver sheen to this to brighten up the gold a little bit. I've got to lay some gold wash over it, and then I need to go over the edges with a more pronounced silver. But yeah, we're working on it. So it's a soul drinker, and I haven't done any highlighting or accents yet. So there's really a lot to go still on this. But yeah. Can the figure move? Yeah. And there's shoulder pads and there's legs. There's also legs. He's not some weird Stephen Hawking cripple. Next. Perch Bill says, "Can I come on and tell you my Brett Spiner stories?" No. Oh, and if you missed the stream with Az earlier today, he and I are planning on April 15th. On April 15th, we're planning an EFAP story to Gail Cord Schuler, talking about her live stream where she struck Satan with lightning bolts down. Struck down Satan with lightning bolts on a live stream. That's going to be on April 15th. We will hopefully be bringing in more people to join with that. But we're going to EFAP her live stream, so it should be great. Dungeon Master says, "I live in Florida and there's something I've been wondering about. What is a shutdown? It sounds terribly inconvenient. We don't do those here in the free state of Florida. I can go out and get some Jack Daniels and Dunkin' Donuts anytime I want." Yeah. Rub it in our faces that you have DeSantis as a governor instead of Walz. Night of Hope says, "Damon made me want to puke and shit out of the wrong holes. I'd rather read Twilight than that lousy, boring shit you read. Why don't you reenact a bunch of gay shit on Mars and pretend it isn't gay because you've never heard of Greece, you twit?" Oh, you're talking about Ilium. Yeah, I'm sorry that you're not good at reading. Nick Ricada says, "Hey guys, since I continued dying horrifically in Doom the other day, I've decided to live up to my promise. Tonight's Twitch movie is Face Off, so come join me as I watch one of the best 90s movies ever." Nope. It's not true. I will not be watching Face Off. I hate it. Night of Hope says, "On a more serious note, I'm looking to find a non-woke employer. I just found out mine is now pushing SJW activist training on the whole company, as well as unconscious bias training. I don't intend to go along with it. Let me know if you have any ideas." I have no idea, man. Shit, I missed this one earlier. Rodimus Prime, I'm so sorry for missing this. Says, "Nick, did you see Kamala Harris's niece deleted tweet about the Colorado shooting? In the tweet, she said she assumed the Boulder, Colorado gunman was white because he was taken into custody alive." No, I didn't see that. I didn't see that was from her. I didn't see that was from her. Gordo Fabulous. I covered it on this channel with Drexel live on Friday. That's up on the archive channel. So if you go to Ricada Law Live, the YouTube channel Ricada Law Live, and look at the last Drexel video, you'll find it. You'll find it right away. It was great. Bullcut Nationalist sent a 4-part chat. Says, excerpt from an official FBI article. To find it, just search FBI faked hair, and it should pop up. FBI lied, people died. Quote, "The government identified nearly 3,000 cases in which the FBI examiners may have submitted reports or testified in trials using microscopic hair analysis. As of March 2015, the FBI had reviewed approximately 500 cases. The majority of these cases were trials, and the transcript of examiner testimony was reviewed. Some of these cases ended in guilty pleas, limiting the review to the original lab report. In the 268 cases where examiners provided testimony used to inculpate a defendant at trial, erroneous statements were made in 257, 96% of the cases. Defendants in at least 35 of these cases received the death penalty, and errors were identified in 33, 94% of those cases. 9 of these defendants have already been executed, and 5 died of other causes while on death row. Some areas still use this faulty hair analysis due to the prices of tests. And if you want to know why I am not a big proponent of the death penalty, that's why. That's why. Bo Jiden, I missed this one earlier too. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I missed the Streamlabs big ones. It says, look, Nick, we all know I want to sniff illegally smuggled minors. Let's stop asking too many questions, yeah? Gross. Gross. My wife says, honey, it's time to buy more homeschooling curriculums. Malik Foxon says, love how Biden was just sucking his own dick after the press did it for him. Guy's a fucking tool, man. I deeply dislike him. I haven't gotten to hate, but it's getting easier to say I hate him every time he addresses the public. Don't worry, he doesn't know he's in front of the public. Chad Thundercock says, shout out to Reddit and their apparently non-existent vetting process for hiring, and then thankfully firing a probably AIDS-riddled pedo protecting monstrous-looking tranny hog. Pedo protecting monstrous-looking tranny hog. But since it's a lefty echo chamber, it's not surprising they hired it. Silky Johnson says, Nick, for the benefit of the chat and for a damn good laugh, and to bask in the glory of Gail Cord Schuler, you should go to her Patreon and read the disclaimer for the $25 tier. It's insanely glorious and pretty short, but totally worth it. Okay. Patreon, Gail Cord Schuler. She is creating videos to document her life and the adventures of fighting the Jesuits. $25 per month. Reading just the disclaimer, right? Okay. By selecting this tier, you are willing to die for Gail. By selecting this tier, you're willing to die for Gail and become a target of the Jesuit order. You herefore accept all possible risks of Jesuit attack, including cloning, brain control, bukkake, rape by exotic animals, fisting, being kidnapped and shipped off to the Jesuit homosexual compound, midgets being shoved up your butt, penis mutilation, forced sex change operations, telepathic impregnation, or other injury or trauma as a result of depraved Jesuit tactics. Furthermore, you may be subjected to technological experimentation, large numbers of retards, homoerotic sex, chimp-outs, space battles with sentient tacos and burritos, death by fat chicks, or involved in other acts deemed acts of heroism as determined by Gail's men and Jesus. You have been warned. You have been warned. Oh, boy. Oh, wow. Malik Foxon says, so, like, you ever notice Biden is always kind of vague when he tries to reaffirm his positions on things and his promises made? I don't know if anyone else is catching that, but I'm convinced he doesn't remember half of them. Silky Johnson says, Nick, besides the obvious of Dems, just wanting to have the ability to ram through their commie shit, is there any other reason they want to get rid of the filibuster? And how can they get rid of it? If it's not a short answer, I understand. Was just curious. Well, I mean, one logical reason to get rid of the filibuster is because it was an accident. It's an accident. That was the thing. That's the best. I don't know that means you should get rid of it, but it wasn't intended. It was an accident. It was a byproduct of a different bill. But no, I don't see any other reasons than that, though. Malik says, I really dislike this. It makes me so mad. Those of us who aren't brain dead and pay attention see all this blaming Trump for bad things they did and then taking credit for the good things Trump did and waving them around in everyone's face. It's disgusting. Audi driver says, I think the first thing a business is going to ask is whether or not I can fucking open right now. Yep. Malik says, I love how Biden's asking these questions. He doesn't even know the answers to them most likely. How many schools? This fucker is dumb as shit. Like he couldn't even make it through a college speech class with his incoherent rambling. Bad Dragonite says, I like how Crowder described the speech. He said, Joe Biden is brilliant because he sounds so confused and confusing that he makes the listener question their own sanity. Malik says, I feel like he asked if the question was serious because he's seen the pictures but was probably told it was right-wing propaganda by one of his handlers. Remember, there were articles questioning the validity of those images. There was probably someone signaling he fucked up with that answer, giving his pause before he tried to finesse his way back out of an awkward boulevard. This fucker is a moron. I dislike him deeply. He's not aware of anything but what other people think of him. Puppet. Bad Dragonite says, hi, my name is Nick Ricada, and I have some bad news. I don't have enough plushies in my life. Please help me recover from this travesty and send all of your unwanted plushies and stuffed animals to the P.O. box listed in the description of this video. Don't do it. We have so many plushies. Oh, God. Malik Foxon says, your class is full of people who hadn't had kids yet or bad parents, haven't been around anyone with children. Yes, his punishment would indeed be in his own mind, but that's a presumption that we don't get to make. Because what if he doesn't? Very good point. Wolfgang Deo says, isn't Section 230 meant so that platforms like YouTube and Twitter do not have to monitor their platforms for misinformation and terrorism? Yeah, basically. It's so they can wait to be informed about it. If they are, then that should be against Section 230, and they should be liable for a lawsuit right now. Don't know, lol. Yeah, in theory, yes. The idea would be that web pages should have the same sort of, in my opinion, they should have the same levels of liability that an actual traditional publisher would have. The New York Times is responsible for things that it chooses to publish, that it makes an editorial decision on. That's fine. That's a fine standard to go by. When Twitter decides to censor a story, it is making editorial decisions about it. When Twitter has algorithms and AI that can censor comments before they happen, then Twitter is endorsing every single post it makes. Period. Because it could stop them. They have the technology to stop every N-word from appearing on Twitter. They do. So, if they're going to make those editorialized decisions about stories and about content, they should be treated as a publisher, because that's what publishers do. Xander's Rand says, have you woke up petrified from Drex waking you up? No. When are you going to make a video like the toss your coin to your Witcher guy? For some reason, they are mailing me the money, even though the last 2 times it was direct deposit. Last time mine was mailed to me. This time I don't think I qualify. But last time it was mailed to me. The first time I was direct deposited, so I don't know how they do it. That dude was great. Toss your coin to your Witcher. Metal cover, Dan Vask, I think. We watched that. We watched that on Az's stream today. The guy is phenomenally talented. Phenomenally talented. And I had never seen it before, but he did the metal cover of it. It was great. It was great. Night of Hope says, hey, you mad? I win. Okay, next. Red Guy 123444321 says, try to make you mad. Roe versus Wade was a perfectly decided case with no constitutional problems whatsoever. You motherfucker. God. I'm already angry. Timothy Reaper says, hello, my name is Timothy. I'm contacting you today about your vehicle's warranty. Motherfucker. I hate those phone calls. Spartan says, first time sending a super chat. Hey, thank you. I absolutely love your content, Nick, and wanted to let you know that Jack Daniels is the best whiskey ever made, period. You better stop. You better stop. I will come to your house and feed you a full bottle. Infinity223 says, hi, Nick. I know you get this a lot, but is there any news on the Vic case? Just wondering, since Thursday just passed and all. Sorry, not sorry if this chat upsets you. I covered this earlier. No, there's no news. Sheldon Hall says, talk about the group of Floridian trolls selling fake guns to the gun buyback program. Look it up. Oh, that was great. That was great. Yeah, a guy had like some wood, some shitty pieces of wood taped to some pipes, and they met the definition of a firearm under the law. So they got $200 a piece. Good job. Ulash1 says, so I've been having a debate. Is that Jeremy Hambley as the lawyer in the Sunreal MV for Can I Get a Witness? Because damn, it looks close. I've never heard of this. I don't know what that is. Red Guy says, all the warrantless entry will do is pile up a lot of bodies, not in Minecraft, regrettably. Yeah, the confiscation of guns is extremely dangerous and needs to tread so fucking carefully. Joshua Vidrine says, Ron, remember when you first got pegged? It was me, Plant. I jerked you off at a super speed, so it seemed like you nutted at just Monica's touch. I don't like this. Sultan of Zanzibar says, we making Nick mad? W in chat, boys. Woke is good. Austin Hartless says, despite all my rage, I am still just Nicolas Cage. Despite all my rage, I am still just Nicolas Cage. That needs to be a parody. Someone will say that Face Off can never be saved. Oh, God. Mike Hunt says 40K is an inferior product that is nothing but plagiarized ideas from 2000 AD magazine. Do yourself a favor and read the source material. You mad, bro? You must stop. Stop it. Stop it. Baron Wolfsbane says, the days your children was born, the happiest moments of your life. Picturing it, remembering it fondly. Hope so. Doctor is Ron Toye in a thong and a lab coat. Oh. No, because I would have shot him. Finn Frog, that wasn't Rage Against the Machine. It was Smashing Pumpkin. Smashing Pumpkin. Kiwi Goes Live says, go watch Leaving Las Vegas and tell me Nicolas Cage is a bad actor. Literally the one time the Academy got it right. Look, I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I'm saying there are very few people I want to see less on screen. Adam Riley says, won't make you mad, but hurt a little, I hope. You doesn't look good your doesn't look as good as it usually does, Nick. Your what? The Amateur Iconoclast says, I'm Nick Rekieta and I wholeheartedly support Senator Bill Cassidy because he'll fight for the rights of us furries. Mike Hunt says, I'll stop talking about Dixie Normus even though Anita Lay. Ryan Gordon says, random, but do you think Monica hasn't married Ron because she thinks he's gay? Should we recommend Steve Wilkos to answer that question? Well, Ron might be a beard, right? Monica might be eating a box lunch. I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Taylor Cook says the 9th rained on the Second Amendment parade, or did they? They did in the 9th Circuit. If you're not in the 9th Circuit, their opinion doesn't mean anything. Monica's personal fucking fiance says, I'm not gay, but I enjoy being pegged. Anime Moon says, I grew up next to Heath High School and Boulder, Colorado already has abusive gun control laws. It's as if none of those laws do a flipping thing. Kyra says, please cover it. That was the Joe Biden conference we did. We did. I think we covered it pretty well. 05 Red Rex 1 says, thanks for all the great content. Have you done any Jeremy DeWitt episodes? Nope. I don't know what that is. Jonathan Sweet says, Nick, I just looked up Antifa abuse and I saw a chick I've hooked up with on it. We met on Tinder and she said no relationship or kissing, just a wiener appointment. Oh, I hope it was one of the like 2 attractive ones. Maybe 1 attractive one. I hope it was one of those. Oh my God. Oh boy. Jackson Kai says, this upset you. The Primarchs were cast through the warp because the word bearers time traveled, meaning an infinite loop of Lorgar owning his dad. It was Horus who time traveled and caused the problems, wasn't it? That's what I remember. Eugene Ford says, since Biden is trying to do something totally unconstitutional and the Democrats failed to come up with a bill, what can Republicans do to stop Biden's executive order? Sue. Unfortunately, they've got to sue it. Sue over it. If Biden issues an executive order on guns, you can imagine Ken Paxton's office will have a lawsuit filed within a week. John Russell, it's not Magnus traveled to the Emperor and broke the seals and damaged the gate to the webway. Horus was the one who was there when all of the shit, all the little fuckers got sent out, I'm pretty sure. It was Horus who was, the demon was showing him the past, and he showed him the future. And while Horus was there in the past, the Emperor looked and saw him. He saw him there while all of the 20, incubation chambers were there. And that's what caused it, if I remember right. Eugene Ford says, also, is there anyone from either party that can stop an executive order? It's typically through a lawsuit. Jonathan Sweet says, this chick also requested that I splooge on her face and took a picture of it for her premium Snapchat both times. I also bought a painting she made and it's still over my bed. It's a great painting. Oh, Jonathan, that's fantastic. That is fantastic. Night Hobo Joe says, Nick, I'm excited. I just got my first bottle of Blanton's with the S Pony. My question to you is, do I drink it neat or on the rocks? Would you recommend Coke or 7-Up to mix it with? Look, if you get a bottle of Blanton's, please don't mix it with Coke or 7-Up. Please, dear God. Take your first drink of it neat. After you drink it neat, you can experiment with adding a tiny bit of water or something like that. But please, please, please do not mix a good whiskey with Coke or 7-Up. That's for Jack Daniels or Jim Beam or some other garbage. Don't mix good whiskey. Uriah Wright says, leave it to Joe Biden to piss off Nick. John McCain's Geoblastoma says, mad? Choose. Drink a bottle of Jameson cold brew poured through the deepest trench of Tess Holliday's gunt, or get split open by Kermit's BGC and Russell Greer. Kermit Slaglust says, you like fights. An IRL live streaming girl got into a fist fight with a porn star in a parking lot and got bashed in the head with a rock. I heard about that. Xenobit says, Nick, can I try and make you mad? You can try. The Gray One says, evening, Nick, got home after a brutal day at work and now brewing coffee. First thing I see today popping in is our great leader. When will he declare war on the empire of ascending steps? Nah, Trump stumbles down ramps. I run upstairs, man. Zach Osborne says, thank you for noticing me, senpai. I got you, fam. Joshua Sanabria says, no, I come back from lunch to the Biden presser. I just ate, Nick. You didn't eat me. Plain 20 says, well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. All I know is that first you got to get mad. You got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value. Frank Molinaro says, good God, I can't. Macca Jr. says, always love catching your shows on the replay. Would you rather sleep with Rial or diaper play with Marky? Also, have fun listening to the Biden zombie. Why? Why? I'm not doing diaper play. Fuck that. I guess I'll take sleep with Rial. Jesus. Joshua Sanabria says, I'm not a doctor or anything, but I've seen hospice patients that look more alive than Joe. Angry Baneling says, send all Indian engineers and doctors back to us. Marsupial, you can't send them back to a place that doesn't exist. We'll send them all to Jersey. Marsupial Gamer says, number of illegals released into the U.S. in 2020, 25. Number released into the U.S. in 2021 so far, 10,000. Those are not typos. Miklenko says, can't have open borders in a welfare state. Exactly. You got me. You got me. You understand exactly what I was saying. I was hoping I was making that point okay. At least one person understands. Lane 20 says, Lynn Wood filed in federal court in Atlanta against the bar and was randomly assigned Batten, who tossed out his 3 election cases out of a pool of 15 judges. Of course he was. Of course he was. In the same way, though, Melinda Scott has gotten the same judge every time in Virginia. Tater Puddin says illegal immigration has been the Democrats' 20-year plan to flip Arizona and Texas blue. Anybody who doesn't understand that doesn't understand politics. Yep. Frank Molinaro says, Nick, make it stop. I'm getting nauseous. Harbinger 345 says, our fact checkers can confirm this is accurate. Space Force Commander says, the best part is Snopes fact checking his 120 years is true because those are the words he did say. Matthew L says, don't drink that. It's awful. The stout version is my go. At what point are they going to decide how many people are too many to let in? 500 million? Never enough. Wendell 2020 says, well, if we can make Nick drink a bad whiskey, I wonder what other unimaginable things we can make him do. We'll have to see. CJ says, it is broken. Just look at your crappy internet. Basic Female says, you missed that the reporter asked about gun control and Biden answered about infrastructure. No, I didn't miss it. Reading off his written response, not answering on guns. No, I caught that. Sorry, I wasn't emphasizing it because that was the framing of listening to that part. But also his infrastructure answers were stupid as well. CJ says, no, the first question they ask is, can you be a middle-aged minority woman? Name the movie. Do it. I don't know. Master Blaster says, this dude is a senile old kid sniffer, but at the same time I feel bad because I used to work in a dementia ward and most of them were more coherent than him. They're abusing this old man. Jack Cook says, if Biden believes this about schools in the U.S., then isn't that a great reason to repeal restrictions on home charter and community schools? No, they don't want to do that. Space Force Commander says, is it wrong? I'm expecting Joe to call a black reporter boy, but with that spicy flair that would get others canceled. The Physicality Channel says, Muslims almost took apart R2-D2. Never forget. Anime Moon says, you know what might make this all better? A wall, Joe. A wall might solve a few things. I'm so tired of this crap. Twilight Dragon 3 says that Biden video was pure torture. Did the Chinese produce it? Yes. Stephen F says, hey, Nick. Also studying for LSAT. Scheduled to take it remotely in June. LSAT Flex, they now call it. Can you talk more about tech judges? There aren't tech judges. And I think that largely judges don't understand technology at all. They don't engage in it. How many judge Twitter pages are there? They don't have them because they're not really allowed to express their opinions on legal matters that might come before them. So they don't really use social media. That's part of my problem, is that these judges don't use and understand social media. So how are we expecting them to rule properly on the intricate questions being asked? Paul Durfee says, lol, is it working now? Yes. Sneed says, I like this new rule the Biden administration has where no matter what we talk about Trump, it was bad and it didn't help anyone no matter what. Permafrost says, woman moment. Fuzzy Creature says, mistakes can happen. This is pure negligence. Moon Ninja says, one time my little sister snuck along with my mom when she went to work, hid in the back of her car. Dad thought she fell in manure pit. 8 hours later, she's found. Jeez, that's crazy. Face Lord says, I may have stolen your TV, but I swear I feel really guilty about it and that punishment is enough. Stephen F says, take my $5 and dance, Nick. Dance. White guy dancing right now. Beer Expert says, I just turned 30. Let me get some advice. At 30, I say your life is looking up, buddy. The older you get as a man, the more respected you get at your workplaces, the more people listen to you in general, the more opportunities that you have to make money, and male sexual market value increases as you get older. Because your resources increase as you get older. So, my advice is to find the thing you want to do. My most important advice, though, this is for any age. For any age person, male or female, here's my generalized advice. You've been sold a lie your entire life about having impact on the world. Don't try to impact the world. The only thing you should try to do, the only thing you should try to impact the people in your immediate sphere. Do that well. Do it consistently. And you may, or you may not, get an ability to impact something bigger. But if you're constantly shooting to impact the world, you'll never make it. You'll never make it. Certainly not if you're here, because if you're here, you're not going to be a propped up job like Greta Thunberg. Set out to be a good influence on the people in your immediate sphere, people you care about, people you need to take care of. It tends to start with your family, and then your friends, and then everybody else. Do that, and you'll find joy where you are. And if your opportunities expand beyond what you've got, that's great. If they don't, aim to work in the area that you have immediate influence over, and you'll succeed in doing it. No One Important says, I got a similar question with my psych grad course. If your client is crying, would you hug them? I immediately said no, but was then berated by all the women in the class, which was everyone else. Why would a psychologist hug their client ever? Nope. Stabby McStabwood says, seeing you take that coffee shot brought a smile to my face. Really needed that this week. Thanks again for the support, Nick. God, it's not pleasant. It's rude of you. Snuggle Struggle says, on justice.gov, Harvard professor, April 20th, 2019 and December 9th, 2019, the vials were sent for testing, but I haven't seen a follow-up. Tyrannosaurus Rex says, my contribution to today's title, Fozzie Bear voice. I can't do a Fozzie Bear voice right now. Soul drinkers, more like coom drinkers, waka, waka, waka. Pure T Savage, thank you for the donation. Digitalis says, Space Marines wish they were cap troopers. Pure T Savage says, damn, I'm waking up for work just now and y'all still going at it. Stephen F says, Nick, my balls require a grapefruit hammock. Samurai Knight says, Trigun is better than Outlaw Star. Love and peace. No, stop. Ugh. Angry Baneling says, Oi, Nikki, StarCraft is greater than Warhammer. Fact. You can write a dissent about it if you want, but let's not pretend that you don't agree with me deep down. StarCraft is literally a knockoff of Warhammer. So, no. No, StarCraft is garbage created by a garbage company, and you know it. Wendell 2020 says, I watched the last Drexel video and the Gale Schuler shit was hilarious. Can't wait to see more. Also great stream. Snuggle Struggle says, Town Hall, late 2018 flashback. U.S. Customs caught a Chinese biologist with SARS in his bag at the airport, sent for testing, no follow-up. Billy Boy Blue says, all right, here's my shot at making you mad. Hey, Ricada, How about you stop being one of the most educated, articulate, and informed humans on YouTube for a change, you bag of shit? Aw, I don't think you were trying to make me mad with that one. Keld Walker says, send Furbies instead, have them loaded up with Monica's. Monica and Jamie moaning sexually, Racket's name, and of course anything else that will make him puke. That is awful. Why? Why would you do this? Wendell says, Nick, why are you taking all my money? Just kidding. I'm happy to give it to you. Also, have you heard of Ash Vlogs? It's very dark and interesting. No, I haven't. Nick Hex says, I'm sorry for not making you mad. Gonna go cry now. Stop crying. Doc God says, I can't believe my first super chat is tell you to fix your part. Is it messed up? Sorry. Can't stop looking at your bald spot. Your top left. You mad? Oh, this? This is going to stay bald forever, you bastard. Timothy Reaper. By the way, thanks for your first super chat. I hope you enjoyed it. Timothy Reaper says, that Gale thing brought me to tears laughing. Does that count as crying and mean I have to give up my man card? Yes, but don't worry. Don't worry. Zach Knight will point his laser penis at you and cover you in a cum cocoon. Phoenix Lord Asterman says, want to get mad? I united Skyrim and brought it back to the Empire as a high elf. Skyrim is for everyone, not just the Nords. You know what? Fuck you. CJ says, secret of my success, Michael J. Fox, 1980s movie. Oh, that's what the line was from. Joshua Vidrine says, aim to be like a background character in a Fallout side quest where you leave behind some bizarre gun cobbled together that breaks all ATF regulations. F says, from Drex Wanking, yo. Ken Jennings, Kiwi Farm says, what part of Florida will you be in? The Tampa, St. Pete's area? Would you be up for grabbing a bite to eat? Or even a clusterfuck of a live stream in person? The live stream in person is going to be kind of tough. Bite to eat would be doable. Either way, good to see you and family are doing well. Also, I have a new mic. I'll be making vids and streams very soon, too. Good. Broke Man says, can you check out this link on the lolly situation on Minds and free speech situation on free speech? I want to hear your legal take on this, and will you ever interview with the CEO of Minds? Yeah, I would interview with the CEO of Minds. What is this? I'm an anime fan, and a lawful, not safe for work content is totally fine here, but depiction of children are illegal under federal law. So the question is lolly illegal in the United States? I think that's an unanswered question. Who's this guy? A former Los Angeles prosecutor, attorney Neil Schaus. Let's see what he says. Real quick. I got to go ghost hunting here. This is on an actual attorney's webpage. Is lolicon illegal in the United States? Lolly is illegal under the Federal Protect Act so long as the anime is obscene and depicts an identifiable minor engaged in sexual conduct. Violate child pornography laws in some states as well. What is lolly anime? Manga or anime that is sexually explicit and involves cartoon characters that are underage. Form of hentai, which is a genre of Japanese manga that focuses on sexualized characters and plots. I don't think this is an accurate description of lolly. Lolly depicting underage girls is known as lolicon. The word comes from Vladimir Nabokov's book Lolita, which an adult man is sexually attracted to a girl who is 12 years old. When lolly depicts underage boys, it's known as shotacon. In Japan, lolly is widespread. However, its illegality has been controversial and attempts to regulate it have increased since the 90s. Are lolly materials considered child pornography outside of Japan? Different states and countries have taken drastically different approaches towards lolly materials and manga. Some criminalize it as pedophilia. Others do not want to infringe on freedom of expression in the U.S. It violates federal law. In the United States, federal law forbids the possession of child pornography. After the passage of prosecutorial remedies and other tools and the exploitation of children today, also known as the Protect Act of 2003, child pornography includes any obscene images that appear to depict an identifiable minor. Now he's got a site here. Okay, what does identifiable mean, though? The PROTECT Act was passed in the aftermath of the Supreme Court case that held that completely virtual child pornography was protected free speech under the First Amendment so long as it was not obscene. A key component of this ruling was that because the pornography was not a visual depiction of an actual child, it was a victimless crime. After this case, Congress passed the PROTECT Act to prohibit virtual child pornography that was obscene. At least one person has been charged with possessing pornographic material under the PROTECT Act in 2008. Christopher Hanley pled guilty to obscenity and child porn charges after buying a comic book featuring pornographic manga. He was sentenced to 6 months in jail, but was not required to register as a sex offender. That was part of the plea deal. He'd been facing up to 15 years in jail and a fine of up to $250,000. See, will you do 6 months and no sex offender registry, or will you do 15 years and sex offender registry and $250,000? Probably didn't have a lawyer as well. Some countries like the UK have obscenity laws that make it a crime to possess pornographic images of children under 18, even if they are not photographs or do not depict real children. Yeah, that's the UK. In other countries like Germany, fictional depictions of sexual acts involving children is not a crime because such material is not real life and does not depict real people or actual minors engaged in explicit conduct is protected by freedom of speech laws. Law in California. Child pornography laws in California do not explicitly cover lolly. Neither do federal laws. Stop saying they do. Or manga depicting minors engaged in sexual activity. Court cases, however, have required there be a real person in the depiction. Because that's what the federal law requires too if you have a fucking brain. So here's the California statutes prohibit the possession of child pornography. Child porn includes material that depicts a person under the age of 18 years personally engaged in or simulating sexual conduct. California Court of Appeals, though, has ruled this means that it has to be a real child in the depiction. It means that anime and cartoon depictions of children engaging in sex acts would not break the law. The identifiable child, in Britain, identifiable child like Lisa Simpson qualified. A guy got prosecuted for Simpsons porn because Lisa Simpson was identifiable and a minor. But that's not a real person at all. In the U.S., outside of a guilty plea, I am unaware of anybody who has been prosecuted for having a fictional character. That said, if you are attracted to lolicon, I mean this without a hint of shame, without a hint of anything. First, go to a therapist. If you are sexually aroused by artistic depictions of children, go to a therapist. I mean it. Do it. Second, get on the fucking wall. That being said, people shouldn't make lolicon, in my opinion. It's not an art style that I endorse or approve of. However, I don't think the country should ban it. I don't think the art should be banned. I don't think it should be made. But it's my approach to Cuties too. I don't think Cuties was a bannable movie, but I wish no one would have ever made it. So there's that. Wouldn't making drawings count as child pornography be the same as counting drawings of people being killed and count as murder? No. It would not be the same. When Facebook and Google lie about who won the 2020 election, how can we trust any search result for questions like how many days are eggs good for after the sell-by date? So anyway, yeah. Don't ban lolly because no one is harmed by lolly. But if you're attracted to lolly legitimately, please get help. Please get help. You should not be attracted to pictures of children. If you are attracted, even animated children, if you are, please get help. I mean that with no shame. If you don't want to get help, get on the wall. Wolfgang Deo says, electrocurrencies seem to have cut off some excess fat. Still bargain prices. Quantum computing has heavy implications on current cryptology. And until it is addressed, all those wonderful cry coins are subject to disruption in the future. Forking. Okay. Holy shit. Jackson Kai says, the first heretic, page 303, Argyltal spun the swords, leaving blurred trails. Argyltal saw nothing but burning, psychic gold. Hashtag blame Lorgar. Wolverine says, don't miss the underground art auction on Red Valkyrie's channel, Saturday, the 27th, 8 to 10 a.m., 12 to 2 p.m., 4 to 6 p.m., and 8 to 10 p.m. Approximately 35 artists lined up to present work. Be there. Texas Red says, here's my attempt to make you mad. Your brisket you smoked a couple weeks ago looked drier than Jamie Markey's snatch. It was drier than it should have been. It was. It was still good. But because the flame went out on my smoker and it cooled down in the smoker, it was drier than it should have been. That's true. That's true. I didn't get a good opportunity to wrap it, and that caused it to be drier than it should have been. It was still good. It was still moist, but not moist enough. So I can't be mad at that. Billy Boy Blue says, cartoon murder considered illegal. In theory, you could get to a place where drawing a depiction of murder of real people could be a threat of violence. That's a possibility. Billy Boy Blue says, is Hollywood fictionalized, stylized violence illegal? No. No, it's not. But we're talking about statutes that regulate different things. But that being said, I don't believe that lolicon is actually illegal in the United States. I think that it is a question that the Supreme Court needs to answer at some point in general. I do think that they need to clarify that, but my read of that, an identifiable minor, no anime character is an identifiable minor. That's an identifiable anime character, but that's not an identifiable minor. Now, if you draw this is what it was for, by the way. It was for photorealistic but digital representations of actual kids. Because when the child pornography laws were written, it was legitimate film pictures and film video. And the arguments that people made was, whoa, this is digital, bro. This is magnets on a disc. Magnets on tape, sorry. Magnets on tape or divots on a disc. It's not the same thing. That's not a real kid. That's a digital representation. And then it was a computer animation or whatever. Okay. But if you deep fake like a 10-year-old, that's different. That's a different thing there. Because that's treading into the territory of saying this is an identifiable minor, and the purpose of anti-child pornography laws is to reduce potential harm to minors coming from their depictions in media. Okay? That's the purpose of the law. That's why it's there. It has nothing to do with lolly because there's no identifiable minor. There's no exploitation going on. That's not a real thing. So to me, my read of it says federal law does not outlaw lolly at this point, and that the identifiable minor means an identifiable actual minor. Because anybody can say that a lolly is just 10,000 years old or some bullshit because they're fictional. They don't exist. So there you go. That's my take on it. I've been consistent on that take for a really long time. I do think the Supreme Court will need to weigh in on this question at some point. Because and I think they should fall on protecting the art. I don't like the art, but I don't like a lot of art. It doesn't need to be illegal just because I don't like it. And I don't think that lolly is particularly dangerous to children, so I don't really care. So that's me. Anyways, hope you guys had a good show tonight. I'm going to go over to Twitch and apparently do some ghost hunting. This went way longer. I thought this stream was going to go 2 hours. So, anyway, going to go do some Twitch tonight. We'll catch you guys over there in just a minute. See you in a bit. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you guys tomorrow, Friday Night Tights at 2. See you then. Have a good night. Peace. Peace.
drinks a fair bit, but you realize that it just helps get his noggin jogging along. With his glass by his side and his kids asleep tight, we'll hear some law-splaining tonight. With his microphone muted, we'll laugh at this boomer until he explains it's all part of the plan. Watch his face become redder as he becomes meta, raging at idiots from Twitterland. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, his lady is fair, and she handles herself with the grace of one who has borne many children. As the wife of a lawman, she makes sure that he has the time and the place to provide for them there. So pour out an Ardbeg, a Balmore, a Lafroig, the spirits flow as the ones who get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now. Oh, the guests are all plentiful, from Doug T to Drexel. They bring their perspective and spice to the mix. But the reason we're here and the one that we cheer is the one who is showcasing us his career. Get unemployed. So pour out a glass for the tea post on Twitter as we hear law-splaining tonight. From the white shores of Nairn to the hills of Glenlivet, there's no one who explains the law better than Nick. So pour out a glass for the ones who have passed to make the law what we have now.